USA came into this tournament as the clear favourites, the world number ones, the defending champions. But the group stage ended up being far more difficult than anyone had expected. And now the prospect of a last 16 elimination has made the world sit up and take notice. The USA have their backs to the wall in Melbourne. It is going to be very interesting to see how this all-conquering team reacts to their current predicament. I'm very much looking forward to watching this game alongside Carly Telford. Carly, a big chance for Sweden here to claim what would be an enormous scalp.
Yeah, exactly, and I think there's a huge history between these two teams. Lots of results going the USA way, so there's a huge opportunity for Sweden now to take on a side that hasn't looked themselves, let's be honest, in the USA. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what Sweden can do here. I think their confidence will be high. I think everyone's realised that the USA aren't as dominant as they have been. So yeah, if there's any opportunity to beat this USA team, this is the opportunity to do it.
No team, male or female, has ever won 3 World Cups in a row. The USA's three-peat is in jeopardy here. Let's have a look down at the teams. The on-field officials, by the way, this evening from France, led by the well-known Stephanie Frappart. Sweden looked very good in the group, particularly with their aerial threat. They scored more headed goals than any other team across the group stage. And Sweden qualified for the last 16 with a game to spare. So coach Peter Gerhardsen reverts to the same starting 11 that began their second game. The 5-0 win over Italy. Muzovic of Chelsea still the goalkeeper. Back four, Natalie Bjorn of Everton. Amanda Illested, the new Arsenal signing. Magdalena Eriksson of Bayern Munich, and Jonna Andersson at left back. In the middle of the midfield, Philippa Angeldal with Ellen Rubinson, who scored in the group stages. Johanna Kennard wide on the right, Ferdinand Rolfo of Barcelona wide on the left, and Kosovara Aslani in support of Arsenal's Stina Blackstenius through the middles. Blackstenius, who scored goals in the group stages, who scored against the USA at the Olympics in 2016. There are 2 changes for the reigning champions of the USA. Rosie Lavelle is suspended after 2 yellow cards in the group. So Julie Ertz will move from defence into midfield. Emily Sonnett will slot in at the back. And Trinity Rodman replaces Lynn Williams in attack. Alyssa Nair, the goalkeeper. Back four, Emily Fox, Emily Sonnett, Naomi Girma and Crystal Dunn. In the midfield, Julie Ertz with Andy Sullivan and Lindsay Horan. Horan making her 133rd cap. Then Trinity Rodman, daughter of the 5-time NBA champion Dennis Rodman, with Alex Morgan and Sophia Smith up top. USA, who have occupied the number 1 spot in the world rankings almost exclusively since 2008. They have never dropped lower than number 2 in the world since those rankings were introduced back 20 years ago. But their slump in form, a continuation of a worrying dip at the back end of last year. The warning signs were there. They lost 3 games in a row to England, Spain and Germany. First time in 29 years the USA had lost 3 in a row. But between then and the start of the World Cup, the team had returned to its dominant ways. 9 games out of 9 successive victories as we get underway in Melbourne. Sweden in their traditional yellow and blue, the United States wearing all white. Sweden playing from left to right as we look down, the ski gulls hovering overhead, the rectangle in Melbourne. And this very keenly anticipated game. Ever since we knew USA were not going to top their group, the prospect of taking on Sweden, winners of their group, became the prospect. USA second place in Group E, Sweden top of Group G. And whoever wins this goes through to play Japan in the quarterfinals, the Japanese who beat Norway yesterday. Early Swedish possession down the right-hand side, and Aslani tries to clip one in towards the back post. Blackstenius had made a darting run towards the centre of the pitch, didn't quite get its way through to Rolfo, and the USA are able to clear away.
Yeah, it's an aggressive start from both teams, quite scrappy in the middle. But yeah, it's just going to be who can get a hold of the ball and settle things down. I think both teams might be a bit nervous. It's a knockout stages now. USA usually very good in this position, and so is Sweden. I think the past few competitions, both of them have reached the final stages. But yeah, let's just see what happens, because it's going to be an exciting 5-10 minutes. We know that the USA like to start fast. That's the history. So yeah, if Sweden can nullify that in the first 10-15 minutes, we'll see.
Good ball. Sophia Smith to pick out Alex Morgan, attacking the penalty area for the first time in the game. Morgan tries to cut in field of Ilestead, and the ball just ran away from her. The referee's whistle blows. First attack of the game for the USA. Alex Morgan unable to get a shot through on target, but that looked promising.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, they've almost left themselves 2v2 at the back there, Sweden, but they get the numbers back, and USA don't really get many numbers forward to help out Alex and Sophia. But yeah, Sweden scrabbled defence and they managed to win it back and get bodies behind the ball. But yeah, exciting start. I think it's going to be a bit end to end for the next 10-15 minutes, which is good for the watcher.
Alex Morgan, yeah, absolutely. Alex Morgan, who has scored 121 international goals in the past, yet to score though at this World Cup. Sweden 0, USA 0. 2 minutes played in Melbourne. Last 16 of the Women's World Cup. Aslani getting involved as well. Good work to help the ball onto Blackstenius. Aslani lost her footing as she played the pass, but it was delivered well. That's an excellent delivery into the centre. Swedes trying to use their aerial threat again. Cannard was arriving, but USA relieved to clear it out of the penalty area. Sweden, as we've mentioned, scored more headed goals in the group stage than any other team, and you can tell that's a tactic they're going to try and deploy tonight already.
Yeah, exactly. You know how threatening they are in the air. They've got some really good players. But yeah, I think that's going to be tactics down the wings, get some crosses into the box. We've seen that the USA have already been quite vulnerable in those areas. So I expect that to continue. But yeah, it looks like it's America trying to play very counter-attacking with Sophia Smith down the left-hand side. And it's whether they can get enough bodies up there to support the likes of Alex and whoever else can join in at the minute. It's very end-to-end.
Yeah, these two very familiar foes. They've met regularly over the years. Sweden against the USA is the most played fixture in the history of the Women's World Cup. It's the 6th time they've faced each other. There's been 1 draw, 1 win for Sweden, and 4 victories for the dominant United States over the years. But this has looked as vulnerable a US as we've seen in decades. They have possession with Emily Sonnett, plays a calming ball back through defence with Naomi Gira of San Diego Wave. It's her 4th appearance at this World Cup. Sweden were able to rest players for their 3rd group game because they knew they were already through to these knockout stages, and that might be telling in their fitness as this game goes on. Remember, one way or the other we get a winner, even if it means extra time and penalties. Jonna Andersson comes in the attack down the left-hand side for the Swedes, up from left back. No great urgency though as they send it back to the 2 central defenders, Magdalena Eriksson and Amanda Ilestedt. And then Natalie Bjorn of Everton gets a touch on the right-hand side, and the Swedes happy to hold on to possession, knowing that there's so much pressure on their opponents this evening. Angeldal's ball is going to work its way through to Canada, to the byline right-hand side. Another high, searching delivery, again too high for Blackstenius. Rolfo will battle to try and keep it in play, and Emily Fox, the right back for the US of North Carolina, puts the ball out for a throw into Sweden down the left-hand side. Carly Telford. Yeah,
it was really nice from Sweden. You can see there's opportunities to go forward for them, but they've just been calm, kept the ball, waited for their opportunity, put some nice passes together. But again, it looks like they're trying to get down in those wide areas and put some really dangerous balls into the box. And now it's how can USA settle down into the game, keep some possession. It's something obviously I experienced playing in San Diego. They're very direct and they like to attack quickly, not possess the ball like a European team. But yeah, we'll see. I think they're going to need to do that in this game. It can't be end to end. Yeah, or they will get punished because that's what Sweden are good at. They're going to expose them in those areas, especially in the box. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see if the USA can get a hold of the game and keep some possession, which they seem to be doing right now, which is good to see.
5 minutes played. Sweden 0, USA 0. Elisa Nair of the Chicago Red Stars, the goalkeeper who saved Steph Houghton's penalty in the semi-final win 4 years ago. USA trying to move through the gears now as Emily Sonnett plays it through the midfield, but good alert Swedish defence. Ellen Rubinson intercepting and playing the ball all the way back to the American goalkeeper wearing green away to our right hand side. Emily Fox's possession with the red boots. The ball into Emily Sonnett. Now Naomi Girma. USA still midway inside their own half. Andy Sullivan turning and picking out a nice pass into space, and this should allow the Americans to come forward. Morgan in a tangle with Eriksson. Gets possession on the edge of the Swedish penalty area. Rodman looks to be offside. Play on for the moment. Low ball into the middle. Sophia Smith tries to pounce on the edge of the 6-yard box. It's going to fall up to Andy Sullivan, who wraps her right foot around the shot and from the edge of the penalty area sends it wide. First real threatening shot from the Americans. Getting to see a replay, and it would have been onside for Rodman. It remains 0-0, but the Americans are warming up.
Yeah, that's better from America. You can see some nice calm possession in the midfield area. They get it out to Horan, who's nice and calm, and instead of going for that really straight ball, which they've tried a couple of times over the top, it's wet, it's slick tonight. Anything over the top and straight is going to run through to the keeper, so they've got to be a bit more clever. And you can see that for the first time they link up with Alex. Alex keeps it, gets it out wide to Trinity, and they get across in a threatening opportunity. So yeah, I think they're going to have more of that and less of kind of the long ball and direct stuff against this tall Swedish side, which are very good at dealing with those kind of long balls.
Andy Sullivan, who had that effort, 49th cap this evening, just 3 international goals over the years, not the most natural of finishers. Most recent goal for her club came in October against Houston Dash. 0-0 with 7 minutes on the clock. Tense atmosphere in the early stages in Melbourne. Sweden have it at the back. Jonna Andersson clearing away from left back up towards the halfway line. Girma will turn and from a long way sends low calming pass back to the goalkeeper Nair. Away to our right hand side. Nair's right footed clearance up over the halfway line, out towards Smith on the left wing, but overstruck, and that harmlessly from a Swedish point of view goes out of play for a throw. And many of the United States fans will have had to alter their travel plans. I'm sure many of them will have booked their hotels and flights and tickets almost assuming they were going to win the group, but that's not the way tournament football works, and many have had to scramble to get to Melbourne for this last 16 match.
Yeah, this whole tournament I think has been a surprise for a lot of the top 10 nations. Obviously we've watched Germany and Brazil already go out, but it's been an amazing World Cup because of that. So yeah, I'd imagine Americans being Americans, they would have done exactly what you said, booked their tickets, booked their flights, and unfortunately I think even Fox Sports their allotted slots had come at
Here's Kinnaird down the byline to the right hand side, and well tackled. Ball goes out off Crystal Dunn for the first corner of the evening. Corner to Sweden on the right hand side.
Yeah, I heard that Fox Sports had some slots available because they thought they were going to finish top, and now unfortunately their TV slots are very random times in America now. But yeah, looking forward, this corner's going to come in and see what they can do. First one for Sweden. We know how prolific they've been from set pieces, so this is going to be interesting. Yeah,
this team are big news in their homeland. Many eyeballs will be glued to the endeavours of Vlatko Andonovski's team, who've got this corner to defend. It's got to come in from Jonna Andersson, left-footed deep towards the back post. Good dominant goalkeeping from Alyssa Nair to get out, to get a punch to it, and crucially to clear it away from the penalty area. USA working their way out, trying to get it to Trinity Rodman on the right-hand side. She's challenged by Rubinson, and that's going to be a free kick to the USA. But commanding goalkeeping from the corner there from Nair.
Yeah, it's really good by Nair. She actually comes a really long way as well. But if you know your goalkeeper's going to come and deal with that, then as well, when you're delivering, as Jonna Andersson has, you know she's got to keep it away from Nair because she's going to come and clear everything out. But it's a great start from Nair and gives the back line and her team a huge amount of confidence in those set piece moments.
USA 0-0 against Sweden in Melbourne for the moment in this last 16 game. Tomorrow England play Nigeria. It's an 8:30 start in the UK. Commentary on 5 Live, and Australia play Denmark as well tomorrow. That one kicks off at 11:30. Andy Sullivan's header in the midfield, helped on by the experienced Lindsay Horan, who got 2 goals in the group stages. Sweden get it back again though with Jonna Andersson on the left hand side, and she'll turn and safely play it back to the goalkeeper Muzovic. 13th cap this evening for the Chelsea goalkeeper. Lucky for some, a player who's won 7 major trophies as part of the Chelsea squad in England. As the ball is played by Ilestead, good accurate distribution down the right hand side to Kinnaird. Back again to Natalie Bjorn, and then she tried to return it to Johanna Kinnaird again. The ball goes out of play. That's a throw into the USA. Carly.
Yeah, I think it's a positive start from both teams. I think from the USA, I think they've got to stop being so direct. I think Sweden will eat up any long straight balls, and it seems to be coming straight from the centre. Their best pieces of play when the USA have gone through the midfield, but at the minute they seem to be going straight from back to front, which is easy. It's nice straight balls. You've got 2 big centre halves there going to eat anything in aerially. So yeah, I think they've got to be I guess, braver in giving their midfield the opportunity to get on the ball and kind of draw Sweden out, and then kind of find those next passes when they open them up. But at the minute, it's very direct and very easy for Sweden.
What have you made of the body language of the American players? We know the pressure that they've been under. How do you think they're coping with it?
Yeah, I think Americans are very American. I think they hide it very well. Again, another long ball we see here, and it's another first ball win by Sweden. Yeah, I think it's just like, I don't think they'll change their attitude. I think we've seen them after most games. I think they've looked very calm, very energetic, very happy camp. But what they are behind closed doors, we'll not find out until the tournament's over or they're not in it anymore. But yeah, I think that Americans have a very good attitude when it comes to when they cross the white line, is that they know it's business and they'll do whatever they can to try and get the job done, even if they're in a vulnerable state.
Sweden 0, USA 0, 12 minutes played in Melbourne. Magdalena Eriksson has possession, player who's recently left Chelsea to join Bayern Munich. Sweden wearing their very familiar, very bright yellow shirts. Natalie Bjorn, who started all 5 games as Sweden reached the semi-finals of the last Euros, all 6 games at the last Olympics, so this is her 3rd game here in the Southern Hemisphere at this World Cup. The ball played forward by Sophia Smith, picking out the dangerous Alex Morgan. Outside the penalty area on the left-hand side, flashes across, that's behind Trinity Rodman. Rodman's going to sprint back and has done really well to keep the ball in play when that chance looked to have passed her by. The USA retained possession, still inside Swedish territory. Andy Sullivan looks up for the options, plays it back into the centre circle for Naomi Girma. Girma comes forward with long strides, and Sweden sitting deep at the moment, absorbing what the USA have to play at them. 0-0. Girma, left-footed ball. She was under a lot of pressure from Kosovari Aslani there. But USA hustle well for it and eventually give up possession midway inside the Swedish half. And that is a throw-in for the Swedes.
Yeah, the Swedish are doing really well when it goes back to the centre halves and the halfway line. There's obviously a trigger point, and that's forcing the USA to go longer. And again, playing into the Swedish hands, a long ball from Girma straight into the Swedish centre half, who settles it down. They win the next ball, and Sonnet plays it off the pitch. So I think at the minute, Sweden are executing their game plan very well. The USA haven't really looked very threatening. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Vlatko and how the team solve that, or whether they change anything. But at the minute, it's very clearly direct play from the USA, which is what Sweden will want exactly.
Sweden, who've only conceded 1 goal at this tournament so far. That was in their opening match against South Africa. They can equal their best ever run of clean sheets at a World Cup if USA fail to score here. This is Emily Fox up from right back to within 5 yards of the penalty area that USA attack away to the left-hand side. Fox is confident enough to take on the defender to get to the byline, but there's no threat in the delivery of the cross, and Sweden should be able to clear it away. Jonna Andersson is caught late, and that's going to be a free kick that will relieve some pressure for the Swedes. Still 0-0.
Yeah, again, there's not really that consistent threat from the USA, that kind of building around and being patient around the edge of the box and probing. It's very quick to attack and very direct, and then it kind of breaks down and they're on the retreat again. So I think America have to be more patient when they've got possession. Yes, Sweden are pressing them, but I think they've got a good enough quality to retain better possession around the edges and kind of tempt Sweden out of that really structured kind of 4-on-4 they have in front of the ball. But yeah, at the minute, again, it's very easy for the Swedish to read. They're just waiting for triggers and pressing when they can. And there goes Aslani again as she makes Girma make a wide pass, which is what they just need to be more patient, exactly like that. Kind of make them chase, make Sweden chase around a bit and just maintain the ball a little bit better.
Yes, tense and anxious mood at the moment. That will only increase the longer that this game does stay 0-0. These nations who drew 0-0 the group stage of the World Cup in 2015. It won't end as a draw today. One way or the other, we're going to get a victor to go through to play Japan in the quarterfinals. But that game at the World Cup in 2015, the only scoreless game there's ever been between these two nations in the senior women's game. Down the right-hand side, Trinity Rodman tries to take on Jonna Andersson again, and last touch off the defender means a throw into the United States. Lindsay Horan receives it. USA quick to get the ball back in play. Horan, low ball, which is cut out by clipping the heels of the defender Eriksson on the edge of the penalty area. And Sweden do clear it away out for a throw-in to the USA. The USA, who have won their last 8 World Cup knockout stage matches. That's a competition record. It's a run that began with their round of 16 win over Colombia back in 2015. History tells us that this side know how to get it done when the stakes are high and when the chips are down. Girma, halfway line. Bit more time to pick a spot here as she tries to deliver it towards the edge of the penalty area. Lindsay Horn had made a good run forward, but it's cut out by a Swedish defender. And then as Sweden tried to launch the counter-attack with Kenner, the ball goes out of play for a USA throw. Taken quickly again by Crystal Dunn, and what is her 136th cap, the left back from Portland Thorns. Emily Fox now 10 yards outside her own penalty area. No great high press at the moment from Sweden. Happy for America to have it in that very deep position, but it's as Geert comes forward towards the halfway line now that the pressure begins to be applied, and good pressure too from Aslani, keeping the Americans at bay.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have, just because the USA have comfortable possession on the edge of the box, you don't necessarily have to press them straight away. And that's what they've done. They've settled in and waited until Girma gets around the halfway line and then pressed her. But this looks promising from her. Again, it's just that it has to be so quick. I think Trinity Rodman's got a lot more time than what she thinks to kind of set that ball up and wait for more of her teammates to get in the box and kind of pull Sweden out rather than delivering straight away when the Sweden are set and the USA aren't. I think a little bit more patience from the Americans would really help. And again, another long straight ball which Sweden eat up and clear the ball away again.
Yeah, these are the two top-ranked sides left in the tournament. Sweden 0, USA 0. 17 minutes played now. Julie Ertz rolling the ball to Naomi Girma. Girma once again coming up over the halfway line, looking for options. Not been offered too many of them. Crystal Dunn tries to help out, but in that tight corner, USA lose possession. And then as Aslani tries to launch the counter-attack, Dunn crunches in with a tackle to put the ball out of play. USA, who've met European opposition 14 times in World Cup knockout games. They've been the victors 12 times out of the 14. Here's the chance. Trinity Rodman attacking the edge of the penalty area. Powerful right foot shot saved by Musovic. Wasn't able to hold it, too hot to handle, but pushed away from danger. That's the best chance of the game so far. Trinity Rodman denied by Musovic.
Yeah, and it comes from a deflected, kind of cleared ball. It falls straight to Trinity Rodman, and Swedish, I don't know why they just kept dropping off and dropping. You're kind of inviting her to shoot from that distance. Musovic will be probably a little bit disappointed she wasn't able to hang on to that, but it's a good strike. It's straight out, and I expected to save that. But yeah, it's a little bit of a shock to Sweden to give away possession like that. Just
a reminder of the danger that the USA do provide on the counter-attack. Even if they look to be a little bit off the boil, they can very quickly snap back into where they need to be. Sweden 0, USA 0. Ilestedt, who's had 3 headed goals already in her 3 games of this World Cup. Magdalena Eriksson out to Jonna Andersson just over the halfway line. Left-hand side of Sweden come forward wearing yellow and blue. Rubensson keeping that forward motion going. This is good. Aslani has a look up, plays it unselfishly low into the penalty area to Blackstenius. Thought Aslani might even have been tempted to go for a shot from the edge of the D herself there. Blackstenius isn't able to do anything with it, and a poor ball from Rolfo puts the ball out of play. That was a promising build-up from Sweden, but they'll be disappointed not to get a shot on the end of it.
It was a great bit of play from the Swedish, and they kind of cut through the Americans down the left-hand side, then into the middle of the pitch, and I just don't think Aslani got her head up quick enough, and on her left-hand side, Rolfo was in, but that hesitation, that extra touch, when she eventually put her in, kind of USA had managed to scramble defence and then get back, and then from there, once they're in shape, it's very difficult to break them down again.
Fridolina Rolfo, who got 12 goals for Barcelona this past season as they won the league and the Champions League. Very dangerous player on the left-hand side of the Swedish attack. Blackstenius through the middle, Kenner down the right-hand side, a 3-pronged attack for the Swedes. Throw into the USA with 20 minutes played in Melbourne. Still Sweden 0, USA 0. Ilestedt to Eriksson on the halfway line, trying to get in around the back of the United States defence down the left wing, and it was a decent ball in front of Rolfo, and no chances taken by Julie Ertz, who very calmly just puts it out for a corner, doesn't risk trying to clear it away. Corner to Sweden, and their last delivery from these was very good. Can they threaten Elisa Nair once again here?
Yeah, it's like a little bit frustrated there. I think it come off her shin. I think she was trying to clear it up for throw in, knowing how dangerous it's something you discuss as a team. But teams good at set pieces, you don't want to try and give them any cheap ones away, and I think that would be a cheap one if they conceded off this. I think she'd be very disappointed.
Yeah, set piece deliveries, headed goals. It's been the story of Sweden's World Cup so far. Can they do it again? There's all sorts of jostling for position and players encroaching inside the 6-yard box. Stephanie Frappart, the referee, comes over to try and separate a few of them. Ilestedt, the obvious target, giving her headed prowess in the tournament so far. Here comes the delivery. Goalkeeper backpedaling, has to volleyball palm it away off the goal line. Nair survives again, but this aerial threat from Sweden continues. That was almost like the Katie McCabe goal for the Republic of Ireland. The in-swinger that might have gone directly in were it not pushed away by Nair.
Yeah, that's a quality delivery and so difficult for anyone. The defenders, the goalkeeper, you know it's coming down on you. You've got to time your jump right so that you can get, and then hopefully, like say, if it misses, or you've got your defenders around you to protect you as well, which was what happened there. So Nair was able to get a good punch on it, and then obviously got the foul as well. So all in all, yeah, very well defended again from the USA.
Tangle for the Americans. Sullivan and Sonnett got in each other's way. Crystal Dunn comes across and is very solid in clearing it. Might have caught Kosovari Aslani there, just outside the penalty area, wide position. Looked like there might have been a foul initially anyway from Emily Sonnett, who had grabbed hold of the arm of the Swedish number 9 and was pulling her back even before the challenge came in. So free kick to Sweden. It's not a shooting position, it's well outside the penalty area, but good platform here to try and deliver again and try and utilise and harness that aerial threat. Aslani, 173rd cap for her. Such an important part of this Sweden team, been part of the international setup since she was a 15-year-old. Here comes Jonna Andersson across to take the set piece. This is a left-footed player on the right-hand side, so it'll be an in-swinger in towards Elisa Nair, the American goalkeeper, who's lined her defence up on the edge of the penalty area. There's a large corridor of uncertainty between those defenders and the goalkeeper if Andersson could play it in. Now they all backpedal as the high ball comes in. Flick on header by Magdalena Eriksson. Didn't get enough on it. Alex Morgan is on hand to clear the ball away, and Trinity Rodman completes the clearance for the United States. It comes back in again. Naomi Girma with the clearance. Rodman takes a heavy fall. She had been fouled. Free kick to the United States, and a free kick midway inside their own half, and the former Chelsea player Magdalena Eriksson committing the foul there.
Yeah, it was a good press from Sweden. Like I say, if you can't affect the ball and affect the play, and I think that's what Magdalena Eriksson's done there. Yeah, Trinity Rodman's tried to control the ball, and Magdalena Eriksson's come straight through the back of her and let her know that she's in a game. But yeah, Trinity's done well there to try get her body in front of the ball and stop them going forward. But yeah, let's hope she's all right, because she's a very good player, and I wouldn't want to see her go off the pitch.
A lot of pressure on the USA coach Vlatko Andonovski. This career in the post for him has all been building up to this competition and what the USA would be able to deliver in terms of holding on to their crown. They still haven't lost a game at this World Cup, but by their very high standards, when they don't win every match, everyone starts asking questions.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you forget their run's been unbelievable, and like anything, when someone or something's been doing so well, and all of a sudden it starts to falter or stutter, everyone kind of questions the coach, who's in charge, the players, their attitudes. When this team's been doing what they've been doing for many years with the same attitude, the same swagger. When backs have been against the wall, they've managed to win. So yeah, to question them when they've just had a few off games, when they're in a massive transition moment as well. They've got a lot of younger players, a lot of their let's say their veteran players are on the bench now who have won World Cups, so they're now all playing a different role. But trying to get this team to gel in this World Cup's been difficult and a bit sticky. But who knows with this American team? Sometimes they just find ways to win. But yeah, the Swedish team looks very threatening, and they know there's chinks in this armour that hasn't been there before, and they're looking to exploit them. That's
the voice of Carly Telford watching this game with us. BBC Radio 5 Sports Extra. Sweden 0, USA 0, 25 minutes in. If you're just joining our coverage, Trinity Rodman's had the best chance for the USA. She's looked dangerous in the wide position down the right. She'd one shot from the edge of the penalty area, pushed away by Elisa Nair. Sweden have threatened with aerial deliveries from corners so far. USA have possession of the moment. Crystal Dunn on the left-hand side, supported behind by Emily Sonnett, who's confident here. Takes on Kinnaird, but takes it too far past her and runs the ball out of play. Throw into Sweden inside their own half. Which coach do you think, Carly, will be the most pleased with these opening 25 minutes?
I think it'll be the Swedish coach. Yeah, Trinity Rodman had the one shot from about 30 yards out straight at Musovic, but other than that, they haven't really had anything. I know we haven't really seen Neuer called into action, but at the same time, I feel like they've possessed the ball well. They look good in shape, Sweden. They have their trigger moments, and yeah, I think they're just kind of biding their time. For me, they've played the better football all in all. Linked up well, gone through the midfield, gone into wide areas. But yeah, I think if anything, it'll be a mistake from Sweden like that if they do give possession away and give USA a chance.
Yeah, Trinity Rodman's picked up possession inside the Swedish half. Now taking on Jonna Andersson. Another shot on target. Again, parried away by the goalkeeper. It nearly fell to Sophia Smith, but she was then crowded out as she tried to shoot. Rodman, one of the two changes in the USA team tonight, is leading from the front with the charge. She's looking so threatening. And again, beat the defender, got the shot on target, but Sweden keep it 0-0.
Yeah, it was a really loose pass in the midfield from Sweden. Give it straight to Trinity Rodman, and we know how quick she is, how skillful she is, and she just takes on Jonna Andersson on the outside, gets herself half a yard of space, and tries to drill it across the goal. But Musovic was there with a really good, strong save, manages to parry it out wide, and yeah, it's probably the first time we might see USA gain a little bit of momentum. But again, Sweden are so well disciplined that yeah, they just kind of make them retreat and go backwards again. It's whether USA can stay patient enough to keep Sweden defending for a period of time until they potentially make a mistake or someone jumps when they shouldn't, which is what they should be waiting for really, instead of just pumping balls long and forward. It's not going to really work for them.
Sweden 0, USA 0, last 16 of the Women's World Cup. Later on this afternoon, the Community Shield, Arsenal against Manchester City at Wembley. It's a 4 o'clock kickoff. You can listen to commentary on our sister station 5 Live. Here comes Smith attacking down the left-hand side for the USA. Challenged by Natalie Bjorn. Smith lost her footing as she delivered the cross. It's kept alive by Trinity Rodman anyway. 10 yards outside the penalty area on the right for the USA. Nice little no-look pass. Gets on the end of the 1-2. Rodman's left-footed shot off her weaker foot, not on target, sails away. But there's no doubt she's the one pulling all the strings at the moment for the USA.
Yeah, definitely. And again, that's what, 10 to 15 passes we've seen the USA put together there along the back line. They've switched play twice. And it's just that patience. It allows players to get up to the pitch. It means Sweden are retreating. The spaces open up, and like you say, the little bit of link play between Trinity and Trinity Rodman and Lindsay Horan allows those gaps to be exploited and gives her an opportunity to pull the trigger, which she has. Not as good as she has been on her right foot, but yeah, you can see that she only has one thing in mind around the edge of the box, and that's to shoot. So yeah, Sweden are going to have to be a little bit more cautious, giving her that much time and space around the edge of the box.
Sweden 0. USA 0, ball bounces on the halfway line. The header from Emily Fox was a little uncertain. Sweden tried to get in around the back. Julia Ertz backpedaling, hooks it away over her shoulder and back up towards the halfway line. Ellen Rubinson, who plays her club football in Sweden with Häcken, tries to play it forward once again. This is Alex Morgan. Always a little fizz of energy around the stadium when Morgan gets in possession. She's played a lovely ball in front of Sophia Smith here. Smith into the penalty area. The defender is Bjorn. Smith tries to pirouette away from her. She's done really well, Smith, to get it into Horan. Horan can't turn and shoot from close range. Sweden breathe a huge sigh of relief, but they've not cleared it away yet. Emily Fox hustles on the edge of the penalty area. Sweden defending like tigers now, and they've done very well to break away. This is a chance down the right end for Kennard. The game has just stepped up a gear as Aslani here to the edge of the area, plays it in. Blackstenius tries to shoot. Julia Ertz with a very good block, and then Angeldal can't keep the momentum going on the edge of the penalty area, and it's suddenly end to end in Melbourne, but 0-0.
No, that's what we love to see. A bit of action at either end. Yeah, it was a real good scramble defence from Sweden. US had a couple of chances. Lindsay Horan couldn't get a hold of the box. She was about 7 yards out, tried to turn it. The Swedes get to clear it, edge of the box, and all of a sudden they're on a counter attack, and the USA are scrambling back. And again, Sweden have done really well at getting around the edge of the box, but we haven't quite seen an end product for them. They've had two kind of really good corners where Nair's had to clear them off the line as such, but other than that, yeah, I think they'll be disappointed that they're possessing well and counter-attacking, but it's kind of what's next and how they can take all their possession into decent effect, because even though the USA haven't been the best in possession, they've looked the more threatening and around the box. So yeah, I think it's very even at the minute in terms of one team will be happy with the possession, how they're playing, and one team's probably happier with the amount of chances they're creating.
This is Naomi Girma, halfway line for the USA, the reigning champions. Left-footed ball forward, flicked on by Morgan brilliantly. Horan waits for it to come down on the bounce, and it was Jonna Andersson who covered across from left back, who got there ahead of Alex Morgan and cleared the ball away for Sweden in front of Lindsay Horan, I should say. Horan, who scored against Sweden the last time these nations met at a Women's World Cup. That was in the group stage 4 years ago. Emily Fox come forward, USA in white, Sweden in yellow. Fox the right back into the midfield. Emily Sollitt's crossfield ball, though, is behind Sophia Smith. Some groans from the USA fans as that goes out for a throw-in to Sweden. Half an hour played. It is very tense. It is very close. USA seeing more of the ball, though. They've had 62% possession over the last 10 minutes. Can they make that possession count? Referee Stephanie Frappart telling Natalie Bjorn to get on with it and take that throw in quicker. USA winning possession back inside the Swedish half. Horan really crunching through a tackle. Referee was right beside that and says it was a fair challenge on Fridolino Rolfo. Rolfo slow to get back to her feet. No prisoners being taken by Horan there.
No, and like I say, I think Horan can sense a little bit momentum on the USA side, so if they can keep this up for the next 10-15 minutes, can they take advantage of all the kind of possession they've had in the last 10 and the pressure that they're putting on this Swedish team? Because I'd say, apart from this last 10 minutes, the rest of it's been pretty much all Sweden in their possession. So yeah, it's about taking advantage of these moments, and I think Americans being American, they can smell when they're on top, and I think Horan's leading that charge in the midfield. It's interesting to see when they're in possession, they kind of fluctuate from a back four to a back three, the USA. So yeah, they keep changing, and as you can see, Dunn's now pushed on, or Sullivan's gone into that wide kind of left side position from the midfield, and Smith's gone inside the pitch. So it's interesting to see how they're moving around fluently. Dunn's now high on the left, so yeah, they're getting enough bodies up and around the pitch now, which is what they need if they're going to break down this Swedish team.
Yeah, Sophia Smith trying to play a through ball into the Swedish penalty area there. It was cleared away. Amanda Eilested, I think it hit her on the face, but she managed to clear it away as Emily Sollitt picks up possession once again for the USA. They're beginning to find their neat triangular passing. Trinity Rodman gets involved again out on the right wing, bursting with confidence, taking on Jonna Andersson again to the byline. Good recovery by Andersson. Stretches out a leg, blocks the cross, puts it out for a corner. Corner to the USA. Right-hand side as they come forward in Melbourne.
Yeah, I think the USA will be really happy at this moment in time. They've kind of rode that bit of early, whether it's pressure or possession from Sweden, and now they're in their flow a little bit. You can see there's lots of different movements from lots of different players. It's not as static as we've potentially seen from the USA. They're in their kind of flow, and they can sense that they're on top. So yeah, let's see if they can take advantage of this set piece, because they are good from set pieces themselves.
Sweden have already had wins against South Africa and Argentina and Italy. 100% record in the group stage. They are the third ranked team in the world. This is a difficult game for the reigning champions in the last 16. Corner comes in, header from Lindsay Horan, finger tipped over the crossbar. Musovic, did she get a touch to it? I think so. That is one of the clearest opportunities that the USA have had in the game. It's all happens. It either rattles the crossbar or there is a save of the goalkeeper. We'll get to see the replay here. No, straight onto the crossbar from Horan.
Yeah, exactly. And like we say, USA have got their own threats from set pieces, and it's just been seen there. I think Musovic had it covered if it did dip around below the crossbar, but yeah, it's just interesting to see. I think she might have winded herself in the process and landed awkwardly, but yeah, I think both teams are very threatening from set pieces, so it's how they can take advantage of that. And maybe Musovic is kind of trying to break the game up, because we know how much of a flow USA have got at the minute. We've seen their possession stats the last 10 minutes, and they've had a couple of efforts on goal. So yeah, it's a good game. You can see the players taking on a bit of extra water. It's end to end. We're only 35 minutes in, but yeah, it's going to be very interesting.
Well, 10 minutes to go to half-time. Still Sweden 0, USA 0 in Melbourne. And the reigning champions, who are in danger of a last 16 elimination, have created some good chances so far in this game. Trinity Rodman, the daughter of five-time NBA champion Dennis Rodman, had 2 shots on target, both saved away by Musovic. And just a moment ago, Lindsay Horan, who's had 29 international goals in the past, 2 in the group stages, a header from a corner that rattled off the crossbar. USA banging on the door, but Sweden have had chances too, and their aerial threat has been impressive. So nervy and tense, and 0-0 between Sweden and the USA. Ball played forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Lindsay Horan unable to receive for the United States, but Rodman with a nice flick to Emily Fox keeps play moving in a forward momentum and direction for the United States. Andy Sullivan has it, 15 yards outside the penalty area. Wall of yellow in front of her as Sweden have worked hard to get plenty players back behind the ball. Lindsay Horan, corner edge of the penalty area on the right hand side. Neat little touch infield to Alex Morgan, who tried to keep it moving there. It's come back into Sonnet in the midfield. Now they look to be expansive to the left-hand side, and Crystal Dunn up against Natalie Bjorn, pulls it back early. And this is Sonnet close to the edge of the penalty area. Thought she was fouled by Aslani there. The referee says no. Sweden clear it away, but USA regain control again on the halfway line with Germa, and 0-0 it remains as the USA come through the middle once again. Sonnet back to Naomi Germa. Sweden are being forced to play a little deeper now. Yeah,
like the USA are getting real good numbers forward. You can see at the minute they're kind of they're leaving only Julie Ertz and Germa back, and as Fox kind of trots back into that right side. But you can see now they're in a back three, so they've pushed their wide players a lot higher up, which means there's a lot more opportunities to get players around the ball. But even when Sweden clear it, it means that USA have got numbers up to pick up any second balls and kind of recycle and start their attack again. So Sweden are really struggling to get hold of the ball now, so that'll be something the coach is looking at to see if they can try and solve in the next either 5 minutes, or maybe he'll wait till half time, because even though they've looked threatening, the USA, they still haven't had loads of clear-cut chances. There's a lot of shots from the edge of the box and set pieces.
Yes, a goal would calm a lot of American nerves, but 0-0 it remains in Melbourne. Horan uses good lower body strength to hold off a challenge. USA give it back to the defenders. Ertz to Germa. Germa very comfortable swerving onto her left boot and playing an accurate pass over the halfway line to pick out Sophia Smith. Smith's picked out Rodman in space of the penalty area. Low ball in, clips a defender, Rubinson. It was an early delivery from the right-hand side. There seemed to be real danger there, but Sweden get away with it.
And that's the bit of quality I've been looking from Naomi Germa. A lot of her balls have been long, high and direct. This one, Sophia Smith comes in off the line, inside the pitch. Germa threads the ball through two lines, which means that the Swedish defence then has to tuck in really tight, which means that when Sophia Smith gets turned, she can play a ball out wide to Trinity Rodman, and she's left in a lot of space. Surprised Trinity Rodman didn't take a shot there, based on how her past previous two have, but she's seen her run in the middle and try to slide it through to clip someone heels and gets cleared out. But yeah, really good from the USA, much better.
Yeah, the shot seemed very inviting for Rodman there, but she went for the unselfish option. Here come the Americans again. This is Julie Ertz up in the penalty area. Cross in from the right-hand side. Doesn't quite sit up for Lindsay Horan. And then the flag is raised anyway, and that would have been offside. It's going to be a free kick to Sweden with 7 minutes of normal time remaining until the break. This competition has seen plenty stoppages added on at half-time and full-time, so we could have a bit of a way to go until these teams hit the dressing room. But again, it's all coming down the right-hand side. Rodman's deliveries continue to threaten the Swedes, but can USA make the breakthrough in this last 16 match? This is BBC 5 Live Sports Extra. The Women's World Cup, England in action tomorrow. Their last 16 game against Nigeria, an 8:30 kickoff. USA with possession at the back with Julie Ertz. Later on today, Manchester City against Arsenal, the Community Shield at Wembley Stadium. Ian Dennis and Dion Dublin will be providing commentary on 5 Live. The championship back underway. There's matches in the second tier. We'll keep you up to date with throughout the afternoon on 5 Live, as well as the cricket and the Super League as well. But for here on 5 Live Sports Extra, we're concentrating on the Women's World Cup. Emily Fox for the defending champions USA, bringing the ball out of defence. Naomi Germa on her 20th cap, plays it left-footed down the left channel, looks to be too far in front of Crystal Dunn, but good acceleration by the fullback, just beaten by the byline. And in the end, the pass was overcooked. There's a delayed reaction for the officials, but that ball definitely went out. And yes, it does now hear the whistle of the referee to indicate a goal kick. 0-0.
Yeah, and that again, I think Naomi Germa's getting a bit trapped down this left-hand side when Sophia Smith comes inside the pitch and she's not so obviously on. Crystal Dunn's trying to make a run in behind, but again, this pitch is so slick, it has to be the perfectly weighted pass for it to stop running out before she can get to it, which unfortunately didn't happen that time. But really good stat we've just seen there. It's taken on average about Sweden 27 seconds to get the ball back compared to America's 6 seconds, which just shows the intensity of how America are kind of hustling to get the ball back and retaining possession possession a lot better than the Swedish are. But yeah, they'll be looking to kind of get a hold of this game. I think they're really struggling at the minute to put any kind of passes together, and you can really see the American players running to get the ball. It's gone out for a throw-in because they really feel like they're on top, and there's an opportunity for them to get a goal here before half-time.
Throw-in taken quickly. Horan to Morgan, who, I don't know if that was intent. I mean, that was very curious. It was like she dummied a backheel and played it off her standing foot. I'm beginning to question, was it intentional? But USA get the throw in anyway, and they have possession on the right-hand side. This is Lindsay Horan.
I think she just invented her own trick up there.
I was going to say, I mean, if she did mean to do it, it was brilliant, but I haven't seen that one before.
Most important thing is she kept possession.
Emily Fox takes the throw in. No time to waste for the USA, as they look for the assurance of a goal ahead of halftime that would calm an awful lot of nerves. Sweden feels like a while since they've last had a promising attack, having had a few set pieces earlier in the match, and Eriksson under pressure heads the ball out for a corner to the USA on the right hand side. Halftime approaching. Yeah,
you can see Magdalena Eriksson there trying to rally the troops. She can sense that probably not ideally where her header would have wanted to go, was straight out for a corner. She had an opportunity to clear it there, but USA have took it quickly, and again they're looking to build.
Yeah, they take it short. Girma gives it out to the right hand side to Andy Sullivan. This looks a promising delivery. The target was Julie Ertz. The goalkeeper came, and Sweden relieved to clear it away again. A few oohs from the crowd for a moment as Musovic hit the deck, but Sweden do manage to clear their lines. Here come the Americans once more. It's wave after wave of USA attack. Aslani's challenge puts the ball out of play. Throw into the USA down the left. It was Alex Morgan stretching in front of the goalkeeper. Just didn't get a touch herself, Morgan. Then the goalkeeper clattered into her. But good goalkeeping from Musovic to be brave.
Yeah, it's really alert goalkeeping. No one really tracked Alex Morgan there on the header down from Julie Ertz, and Musovic has to come out and kind of smother the ball, make sure she doesn't make contact with Alex Morgan before she gets to the ball first. And yeah, it's a good piece of goalkeeping that's very important as we close in to half time.
Emily Fox, the USA's right back, careless ball over the halfway line, returns possession to Sweden, and Jonna Andersson, who 4 years ago at the last World Cup conceded an own goal against the USA. Unhappy memories from her that she would love to banish with a victory here in the last 16 against the defending champions. Throw into Sweden midway inside their opponent's half. Peter Gerhardsson, their coach, will be preparing his halftime team talk. But so far, Sweden are doing enough to frustrate their opponents, albeit it feels like the USA are getting closer to an opening goal. Morgan back helping out the midfield, wins possession back for her team. Eriksson takes it down, a high ball on the halfway line, cleverly plays it off the shin pads of Lindsay Horan, and out for a throw into Sweden, left full back position for them. 2 minutes of normal time remaining ahead of the break. Over half-time we'll be catching up with events elsewhere at the Women's World Cup. Full second half coverage right the way through to its conclusion, be it after extra time or indeed even after penalties. One way or the other we get a winner here as another American through ball goes through to the goalkeeper Musovic. And there's a problem for Swedes here. Jonna Andersson, is it? I think she was
caught with an elbow just as Trinity turns, yeah.
An arm into the face of Trinity Rodman. Any case for that being worthy of further scrutiny?
No, I think she knows that she's going to pull. It's just literally a body movement. It's a really clever turn by Trinity Rodman. Obviously, she turns and swings. You can see there's no malice or intention. It's just a body movement, but unfortunately catches Jonna Andersson right on the cheekbone. Let's hope she's all right, because she's dealt with Trinity Rodman really well down that right-hand side. With her pace. But yeah, I think the Americans will be very happy. They can sense their tails are up. I must say that Lindsay Horan has really led in that midfield. I think any sort of pressure and press from the midfield when they've wanted to keep kind of the intensity of the game up has come from a trigger of Horan. As a captain, if that's your captain leading, everyone follows, and I think the past 15-20 minutes she's really done that, and that's why I think Sweden haven't been able to get out.
This injury delay, the first break there's been in the game, both sets of players have come over for little impromptu team talks with their coaches. Jonna Andersson still receiving treatment. She's still down sitting on the turf. It was Rodman's trailing elbow. It really doesn't look good in the action replay. You can hear the oohs of the crowd who've noticed that. These things never look good in slow motion, of course, the trailing arms of the elbow. 2 minutes being added on for stoppage time ahead of the break, but that time will be even increased as we are still waiting for play to get back underway here. I don't think there is any intent from Rodman, but it's a clear elbow right into the face of the opponent.
Yeah, especially when you slow it down, it looks even worse. But yeah, you can see it's all part of the movement she's doing. It's not kind of she stops and starts and then throws an elbow, as she manages to turn out a really tight space around Jonna Andersson. The movement and how quick she spins, and Jonna Andersson gets caught off guard. It's kind of she catches her in one motion. Unfortunately, let's hope she's going to be all right. I'm sure she's having a full kind of concussion protocol and just check she's all right. It's very important we do that for the players now, but she looks good. Maybe she's got a bit of a swollen lip, unfortunately. Let's hope all her teeth are intact. That's one thing you worry about as a player. But yeah, she looks to be all right, which is good, and I'm sure Trinity Rodman has apologised because it looked accidental, even though it looked like a sore one.
Yeah, Anderson is back on and okay. We have played 1 minute of what was the originally 2 minutes allotted, but there's at least 2 minutes to go here. Probably realistically another 3 before the teams make their way down the tunnel for half-time. Sweden 0, USA 0. 5 Live Sports Extra for the BBC at the Women's World Cup. This is live from Melbourne.
I think that's a big indicator of where Sweden are right now. The first 20 minutes, it was very fluid, played around the back, went through their midfield, and every time they seem to possess it now, it's kind of been a long ball and hit and hope and gather around and just probably try to get till half-time and then reassess where they're either going wrong or how they can get a hold of the game better. But they're really struggling to get a hold of any kind of possession at the minute.
Challenged by Ellen Rubinson in the midfield on Lindsay Horan. Ball goes out of play for a throw into the USA. It's been a difficult half for Jonna Andersson trying to keep tabs on Trinity Rodman. She's stuck doggedly to that task. Has the war wounds to show for it now as well. Game in which Rodman has had the 2 attempts on target. Sweden yet to produce a goal-bound attempt as the whistle does go for the break. Bang on the 2 minutes. They didn't add anything extra on. Rodman's been the big talking point. Sweden, who've threatened with crosses. Those have been dealt with by Elisa Nair, the USA goalkeeper, but Musovic is the one who's had to make the save so far in a game. There was always a chance this could be cagey, and cagey it is at 0-0, Carly Telford.
Yeah, definitely. I think Sweden will have been happier starting off first 20-25 minutes, possessed the ball well, had some half opportunities but looked threatening. USA struggled to get any sort of possession and a lot of long balls, and I think since that 25-30 minute mark, it's all been USA, and Sweden have really struggled to get out, and it's been a lot of cleared balls, a lot of sloppiness from them, and they just don't kind of look themselves right now, which I think USA going in at half-time will be really pumped and really happy. So be interesting to see what Sweden do now to kind of nullify what the USA are doing.
Yes, this is going to be intriguing now. 2 of the best teams in the world, the 2 highest ranked nations remaining at this Women's World Cup, and it's a deadlock at 0-0 at half-time. We will stick with it right the way through to the outcome, one way or the other, even if it means extra time, even if it means penalties. One of these illustrious teams is going out of the World Cup over the next couple of hours. And with England playing Nigeria tomorrow morning, commentary on 5 Live from 8:30 a.m. We're going to bring you a shortened version of the latest episode of Jill Scott's Coffee Club now, featuring the England manager Serena Wiegman.
Jill Scott's Coffee Club from BBC Radio 5 Live.
Well, first of all, thank you for coming on Jill Scott's Coffee Club. This is just like having a coffee and a chat and a few people. We'll get about 5 people listening in.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay,
Are you
good.
excited?
Very much. Can you tell?
I feel like you're very nervous. It's
I
fine.
don't know.
I've ever seen you look
we'll see.
this nervous.
I'm not nervous.
No, she's never
I
nervous.
just want to talk about football.
Right, let's get straight into it. Serena, one thing I wanted to start kind of the podcast with is when I was thinking about you as a manager and obviously getting to know you and stuff like that, I never really found out what you were like as a player. So I know that you played midfield and then did you move to defence? But what were you actually like on the pitch?
Yeah, well, I was mainly a midfielder, but when I started, I was well, I'm not that tall now. I wasn't that big. So when I came in the national team, I was 16 years old, very light. So they put me up front on the right side, so defensively it wouldn't harm that much. And then I mainly played in midfield, but later on they also put me in the back because I had to organize the things a little bit.
So were you a bit of like, were you the one talking and telling people what to do?
Yeah, talking, sometimes screaming. I don't do that anymore. Sometimes screaming, very phonetic, sometimes a little bit emotional.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really wanted to win.
Were you someone that's quite on the pitch? You were quite feisty. You would be not afraid to get stuck into the sort of the kind of nastier side of the game.
Well, I'm not sure it's nasty, but I would want to play duels and things. But when I would come to players like Jill, I would not win it that much because I didn't have the body. But at least I tried. No, I was more tactical player, and vision. And
Who would you say, looking at the England squad, even like since you've had all the players, who would you liken yourself to on the pitch?
If I look at how I was as a player and who I would like, a combination of Georgia Stanway, Kira Walls and Ella Toon.
That is a good player.
What a hybrid that is. Amazing mix. And what do you reckon you took from being a player that you wanted to bring into management? What is it about your kind of experiences as a young player that shaped you as a manager?
Well, what I really wanted to change from a player to a manager, that's being a lot calmer than I was as a player. I wasn't always calm. Yeah, and of course you want, what you want is use all the knowledge you've learned on the pitch, but also with doing physical education, doing coaching courses. So just absorb everything and then hopefully, share it with the players, what's necessary at the moment.
I think you're so calm now. When I think back to that Spain game and it's like 78 minutes and I'm sitting there on the side and I'm like, oh my God, we're getting beat. And I'm looking to you and you're just so calm. So inside, are you like screaming, or have you learned to be calm in them situations?
Yeah, I wasn't screaming. Of course, as you know, we prepare really well. So we have plan A, B, C. We think of scenarios all the time. And I do exercises to stay calm because, yes, it's not a calm situation. And of course, there comes some nerves. But when you're not calm yourself, you can't observe good enough. So you really have to keep observing. And yes, my thoughts went, okay, we really have to score a goal now. Otherwise, we're out. So that one we can say, well, we have to change something. And we knew what we were going to do.
Yeah.
So it just one look behind because I was standing on the sideline. One look behind, and Darren and I really knew exactly what we were going to do, so we changed it. And luckily, we scored in 2 minutes.
So when you say you do like exercises, are there things that you'll do yourself to just kind of make sure that you're very present and in the moment? So what might you do, or are you not allowed to share?
Oh yes, it's like a little breathing meditation, some yoga, and just that makes you calm. Well, that doesn't do one day. You have to practice that.
Yeah,
so
Jill, were you doing any of that?
No, I was going to say not on the side of the pitch. It's not there against Spain, like
no.
in a tree position.
No. I do that when no one's watching.
That's such a helpful thing to have, isn't it?
Yeah, I get bored in yoga. My mind just like goes elsewhere and I want to talk to
you have
people.
To practice a little more then.
I know.
But I'm not sure it will ever go away with you.
Yeah, I think everyone's so focused and I'm like, what are you doing tonight? Knocking them out of they're like, I'm in my good position, downward dog and stuff like that.
Oh, so you know.
Yeah, I know downward dog, but I'm not very good at yoga, so that is something that I should practice really.
Now, one of the things that we ask everyone on the podcast is their daily grind, the thing that winds them up or makes them annoyed. So is there anything in your life that, for someone that is so calm, makes you angry or annoyed or frustrated?
Yeah, well, that's pretty hard. I used to get angry quicker, but now with the age I have now, I don't worry that much anymore. Well, things that make me smile when I think about it is, I travel a lot. And when I'm in the plane, when we get out of the plane, we just landed and we can get out, and everyone wants to get out of the plane first. I think, well, it's not going to help because there's not much space, so we better relax a little bit.
So were you one of those people that would just sit and wait?
Well, sometimes, yes, I do, and sit and wait. And when I see the door goes open, then I stand up and I can get my stuff. And don't worry, it takes maybe 1 minute.
I do
it's
that
just funny.
when getting on a plane. You know, when
Yeah.
everybody's rushing to give the
Well,
ticket,
that
I'm
happens
like,
all the time too.
I'll just sit. But then I was on a flight where they then took my bag and I had to pay £100 for it to go underneath, and I was like, okay, maybe that's why. But I do think like that, everybody's rushing to get on this bus, and you're going to have to go through passport control, and everyone's going to take the same amount of time anyway.
You get people that are edges as well, aren't they? They start creeping towards things. You're not going to get there before anyone else. We're all going to get on the same plane at the same time.
That is a very good daily grind.
One thing we wanted to ask you about was the legacy of that night at Wembley. Firstly, I don't imagine that this is the case, but will you ever get bored of talking about how special that wonderful evening was?
No, you never get bored of that. Sometimes you don't want to talk about it because you want to move on, so we want to talk about the World Cup now. But that moment, I'll always cherish that moment, and that will always keep us connected. The team and the ones who were there were part of the team. That is so special, and I still don't really realize what happened there. And of course, it lands, but I think when in 10 years or 15 years, when I finally sit down and relax, then you think, oh wow, what did we do? And yes, you notice things, how people react on us and on me, and everyone wants to be part of it, but it's so special. And I think in England the game was ready, like the development here and the society and the FA and the whole football environment was ready when winning the Euros. Just give that game and society a real boost. So on pitch so many things improved so quickly, on and off pitch in the game, but also what the players did with that letter. Well, that's just incredible. It says a lot about this team and about the good human beings these players are, and they changed society. And now it was in the government, and we have all these projects, and it's now access for girls in football in the schools. It's just so wonderful.
And I was just sitting with Leah and Kira before, and we still have a WhatsApp group, and it's called Monday Night Out, because I was arranging the Monday night out after the final, and Kira says, it's good we've kept that group alive, but I'm the only one that writes in it. I'm like, good luck girls for this, and nobody replies. But I think it is that connection. Like whenever I see anybody that was part of it, it's just a special connection. You just look at each other and you just get that warm feeling that we won. But I just wanted to kind of, as the last thing, I remember the day after Trafalgar Square, and we were back at the hotel, and you walk through the door, and we were getting ready to go on this night out, and there's like 40 double cheeseburgers, 40 chicken nuggets, milkshakes, chips and everything. And that was the first thing I wanted to do, just eat all this McDonald's food. But I was going to say to you, like, what was the first thing that you wanted to do at that point? I think you were maybe going straight back home, but was there anything that you were like, I've achieved that? And what was the first thing you wanted to do?
I just wanted to go to my family.
Yeah.
I really wanted to go to my family and meet up with my family and hug them. And I was so tired.
I bet you were. I think we all were. And then I had to prepare myself for another night out. Don't feel sorry for us, but I think it was 48 hours of partying. And I think you did actually say something like, the English can drink.
Yeah, yes, we did say. Yeah, we could party. Well, it was a very good party. And, you know, when you win, you have to party too. You know, we worked so hard and it was so intense that you have to kind of relieve. And that's what we did after the final. It was an incredible night. And the day after, we were a little bit tired, but really ready to go to my family.
Yeah. Well, Serena, I could chat to you for hours at Jill Scott's Coffee Club, but I know that you're very busy, so we really appreciate your time. And yeah, hopefully we've been nice to you.
Well, thank you. You were very nice.
Thank you.
It was really okay, which is pretty good.
It was really okay.
It was really good.
That means really, really good in
yes,
Dutch.
Exactly.
Jill Scott's Coffee Club from BBC Radio 5 Live.
So big day for England tomorrow. England against Nigeria. It's an 8:30 a.m. kickoff. How are you feeling about it now, Carly Telford? Less than 24 hours out now for this knockout game.
I feel really good. I was one of the ones that backed us to get to the final and win it last month, when everyone was kind of like, oh, but we could get Australia or Canada in last 16, but then we could get Germany, and I'm like, yeah, but where are those teams now? And I think everything that everyone was worried about and we were being so English about isn't really happening. And we went from kind of the side of the group which was like the group of death and all these teams, to actually on paper these are teams that we should be beating. Not saying that Nigeria isn't going to be a difficult game tomorrow. It will be. They've proven themselves to be very difficult opponents in this competition, with some very good players. But I believe in us. I believe in the style we're playing. We've seen today that Kira is potentially up for selection again. She's fit and ready to go. But even if we don't have Kira, the girls played so well the other night. I think we've got two very good different ways of playing. So either will work for us, and I'm excited to see how they go tomorrow. It's going to be difficult, but I believe in them, and our path to the final is looking promising if we can put all the pieces together.
Yeah, this is very much the business end of the competition now. We've reached the knockout stages of this Women's World Cup, and England taking on Nigeria tomorrow. The United States up against it, against Sweden in Melbourne. Half-time, 0-0. USA having hit the crossbar in that first half, having had the only shots on target of the opening 45 minutes, but work to do against a Swedish team who've shown that they can take chances when they do come their way, especially from set pieces. And you know, it's sort of one of the cliches. It is true for every game, but it feels particularly here. This first goal is going to be so important.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. I think that the USA have got to use the momentum from the end of that half and take it into this half. I don't think you can sit off the Swedish. And that'll be interesting because whoever does get the first goal, it's the timing of the goal. If it's an early goal, do then the USA sit in and try and defend for their lives? We know how dangerous the Swedish can be when they're relentless in their attacks and their set pieces. Or is it going to go start off quite tentative again and the Swedes kind of possessing the ball? But yeah, they have to really find a way, the Swedish, if they're going to nick a goal. There's be a lot more threatening in that 18-yard box, because they didn't really have any of that in the first half, whereas as the Americans did look the more threatening and likely to score. So yeah, it'll be interesting as well to see if there's anything tactically changed from half-time, because I think the Swedish were really struggling to get hold of any sort of possession for the last 20-25 minutes, and therefore really struggling to create any chances, and it was all USA. So yeah, this second half is going to be crucial. Just look a little bit nervous, the Swedish coach. I'm just looking at him there. But yeah, it's going to be a really exciting, it's kind of what we want. We want goals as well. That'd be great. But yeah, we knew how this was kind of going to play out, and it was going to be a very difficult for either side to break down.
So the teams are back out on the field ahead of the second half. Nothing between them so far. And let's see how the style of play is affected as the jeopardy increases. One of these big names are going out of the World Cup, and it might be in the next 45 minutes. Extra time penalties if required. And these two who've great experience of knockout football on the world stage, but which one of them is going to react to this cauldron of a pressure cooker the better now? Back underway, Sweden in their yellow and blue, playing from right to left as we look down. The USA all in white. No doubt that the USA finished that first half stronger than they started it. Let's see who picks up the baton in the most convincing style here now at the start of the second period, as Rolfo gives away possession on the edge of the penalty area. We're just going to update our colleagues on 5 Live, so stand by, listeners, on Sports Extra for just a moment. Yes, back underway in Melbourne, still Sweden 0, USA 0. It has been a tight, cagey, tense game, as you would expect in a contest like this, where one of the big names is going to go out. These are the two highest ranking teams left in the competition. The best chances in the first half came for the USA. Trinity Rodman with 2 attempts on target. There was a header from Lindsay Horan that came off the crossbar. Sweden have threatened from set pieces, but they've been dealt with by the American goalkeeper, Elissa Nair. And it'll be interesting to see who picks up the better at the start of this second half. No doubt USA were on top as halftime approached. But back underway, Sweden 0, USA 0. Sophia Smith tries to attack down the left-hand side. We're back with listeners on Sports Extra after just updating our colleagues over on 5 Live. No goals, 90 seconds played since the restart. And Kennard unable to hold on to possession down the right-hand side for Sweden. Looks like they've picked up tactically where they left off. Carly, have you noticed any tweaks or changes?
Not at the minute. Again, it's just a case of who's going to get a hold of the ball and kind of settle things down. But Sweden have gone with a high press. Did notice that they've got Naomi Girma delivering balls from deep in her box rather than from higher up on the pitch. So yeah, I think can Sweden kind of get hold of the game by getting that press again, because they kind of set off them and it allowed America to gain some momentum, gain territory and look more threatening as they were building higher up the pitch. But I think if Sweden can get that high press right, it stops them being able to do that. It's just whether they can do it for a steady amount of time that's going to allow them to get a hold of the ball.
USA in possession, but just outside their own penalty area. Chance for Emily Fox to clear away on the right-hand side. Rolfo stands up in front of her. Fox calm in possession, though, just wriggles into a little bit of space, and the USA will come over the halfway line now with Lindsay Horan down the right-hand side. Gives the ball in front of Sophia Smith, who'd made a good run. Smith tried to allow it past her, hoping Morgan was in behind, but the Swedish defence was alert to that danger and they clear away. And then Julie Ertz is a little bit fortunate there. The ball could have been taken away from her by Blackstadius, and then she's caught late by Aslani as she clears it away. And slow to get back to her feet, Julie Ertz of Angel City FC. It was only fractionally late, but the dangling leg from Aslani did catch the American defender.
Yeah, she's lucky to get away, not get away with a book in there. A little bit late, a little bit rash. Oh, actually, it might be looking that it is. She is now going into the book. But yeah, it was a typical forwards challenge, I'd say. But that's what you want to kind of see. You need to see that intensity from the front line of Sweden. No easy passes from the back line. Nothing comfortable. I felt like it was very comfortable for America in the last 20-25 minutes, like I said earlier. And it gave them momentum. The pressure was off and Sweden then really struggled to get out. So I think it's important that they stay high and, yeah, of course, allow them to have possession in and around their box. But as they gain territory up the pitch, at some point they need to engage like they are now and really put this American team under some pressure.
That yellow card for Aslani, the first booking that we've had in the game. There are 4 players who would miss the quarter-final should they pick up a yellow card, but Aslani is not one of them. Horan's going to stretch here to try and hold on to possession. But up against Rolfo, the Barcelona player gets there first, and then Horan in her anxiety and frustration commits the foul, and that's going to be a free kick to Sweden inside their own half.
It's a little bit frustrating there for Sophia Smith. Does really well, turns the full back, she's on the pitch, and if she could just get that ball in front of Horan, I think Horan's straight at the back line, but plays it behind her, and with how quick the pitch is, then allows the Swedish defenders to get back and help out.
0-0 in Melbourne. USA have possession. Andy Sullivan just outside her own penalty area. Good strength to hold off a challenge, rolls it back to the goalkeeper Nair. USA want to play their way out. Forward by Emily Fox on the right-hand side to Trinity Rodman, who was the live wire, the bright spark for the Americans in that first half. Rushed clearance by Nair isn't great. Fox under pressure won't keep it in play. And just further signals of the uncomfortable nature at times that the USA are feeling at this tournament.
Much better from Sweden. That's what you want. You want to see them rushed, you want to see them hurried, and then you're retaining the ball and you're attacking third rather than trying to play out from your defensive third. So a lot better from Sweden. I think they've solved maybe some of those triggers, those moments where they couldn't seem to work out when to press the ball and when not to. But yeah, it's important that they carry on doing that and not let this USA team settle and gain any sort of momentum like we've seen them do the first half.
Another wayward pass gives possession away from a Swedish point of view. In the background, of course, the Japanese team and squad will be watching this game keenly. They beat Norway yesterday. The winners of this match will face the Japanese in the quarter-final. That'll be a difficult match for whoever goes through, because the Japanese have looked very good at this tournament.
Yeah, they've looked brilliant. I think they've been sleeping giants for a couple of years now.
Here comes Trinity Rodman on the attack for America. Heavy touch, though she was looking up to see who's in the centre. It almost accidentally hit her right boot, and that allowed Jonna Andersson in, and Andersson just waiting for any little hesitation from Rodman. When she saw the heavy touch, she pounced, and she's prodded the ball out for a corner to the USA on the right hand side. Let's see what they can make of this.
Yeah, good patient defending from Jonna. Kind of Trinity's looking for her to lunge in or whatever, but as a defender you just got to be patient and maybe allow the attacker to make the mistake, then you can kind of bite then. So she does really well and stands up very well against a dangerous Trinity Rodman.
So Musovic, the goalkeeper, trying to hold a position a couple of paces off her goal line. Here comes the delivery. Punch double-fisted by the keeper. Aslani helps it out of the penalty area. Collected, though, for the USA. They hold on to possession once again. Emily Fox plays it back in. It's a busy penalty area, and 2 Americans got in each other's way there. Don't think that Morgan was aware that her teammate Julie Ertz was hovering behind her unmarked. If she had been, she would have let that go through. Anyway, Sweden haven't been able to clear, and Fox has managed to keep the attack alive down the right-hand side for the United States of America, the defending world champions. Plays a little 1-2 with Andy Sullivan. Fox, who's having a good game, into the feet of Sophia Smith, very strong as she withstands the first attempted challenge but can't find any room. More expansive now from America. They go down the left-hand side. Ertz delivery. Won't pick out one of the teammates in the penalty area. Flashes through to Emily Fox on the right-hand side. Fox taking on Jonna Andersson. Delivers in the cross, and the shot from Horan is saved away by Musovic. That's the biggest moment in the game so far. That was destined for the bottom right-hand corner. Almost a perfect strike by Lindsay Horan, but Musovic pushes it out for a corner with an outstanding save.
It is an unbelievable save because she is unsighted there by Trinity Rodman, who's in front of her, and she sees it last minute and manages to get a strong hand on it and push it around the post. But you must say the build-up from the American team was really good. They're really patient, retaining possession, and now they've got their reward. I'm sure they would have wanted a goal, but they've got the reward in a set piece now. See what they can do.
Horan with 2 goals already in the tournament. Thought she had her third there. The corner comes in, flapped by the keeper. Poor follow-up. There's a complete miscue by Trinity Rodman, who got her foot underneath the ball and it was nowhere near the target. Sullivan with a nice trick though, delivers another cross on the right hand side. Sweden under pressure now. Ilestedt got up well to win a header, but Sweden need to push out and America aren't allowing them to do so. Back in from Smith, that's too close to the goalkeeper. Sigh of relief for the Swedes. Musovic bowls it out underarm, but this game has just gone up a notch in recent minutes.
Yeah, it has, and the game's stretched now. There's lots of space for Aslani in the middle of the pitch there. She's driving forward to roll for.
As America commit bodies forward, Sweden hoping they can catch them on the hop down the other end. Ball is played by Angeldal. Out to Bjorn on the right-hand side. Now the ball into the penalty area, comfortably headed away by Julie Ertz. And Sweden regained possession, but they are back of the halfway line with Magdalena Eriksson. We played 10 minutes in the second period, a game that's bubbling up from a simmer all the time now. But we await the opening goal in Melbourne. Blackstenius of Arsenal. Short pass to Fridolino Rolfo of Barcelona. Now into a more central position, but Angeldal can't bring it with her. America don't clear it away. Rolfo collects on the corner angle of the box on the left-hand side. Tries to drill in a left-footed cross. Good defending by Ertz, who had her hands down by her side. Otherwise it could have been a handball. And in the end, Sophia Smith should be able to clear, but she's made a bit of a mess of that. Sweden try to launch it back into the middle, but too close to the keeper. And Elise Nair makes the save. Still Sweden 0, USA 0.
Yeah, and the game's really opened up now. You can see both teams, well, they obviously know they've got to score, but it's kind of the timing of it. America know they're on top, so if there's an opportunity for Sweden to counter-attack and nick one when they probably don't deserve it, they're going to try to. But yeah, it's just all a bit rushed from Sweden, unfortunately. I think they could have possessed the ball a little bit better there and just kind of tried to pull back some momentum, because this USA team since half-time have been very much on top, and had Musovic making a couple of very important saves. Lots of set pieces, which again gives you that momentum as a team. You just feel like you can't get out. There's lots of pressure, but they've just got so many more bodies forward, America, when they are in around the box, which allows them to retain the ball even when the Swedish are clearing it. It's going straight to an American player, and then they kind of build again, and then another wave of attack happens. You just feel like as a player you can't get out, and it's almost like they've got an extra player, but it's just because they've got so many players back, the Swedish, they can't seem to retain the ball and allow players to get up around their bodies.
0-0 in Melbourne. Here come the Americans again. Horan puts the laces through it, but it skews off the outside of her right boot. Disappointing finish to an opportunity on the edge of the penalty area. The chance is still coming for the USA, but they haven't been able to take any of them yet. The Americans, who beat Vietnam in their opening game of this tournament, they then drew 1-1 with the Netherlands, and then surprisingly 0-0 with Portugal, which has left them in this position, having been runners-up in Group E behind the Dutch and having to face a tougher opponent in the last 16 in the shape of a Swedish side who've won 3 out of 3 so far. The Americans, who've not just been the champions, but the undisputed champions for so long now, can they dig deep into their banks of reserves and pull out what is needed to get the job done in the remaining 35 minutes of normal time in Melbourne. Horan received that pass wonderfully, just backed away to create a bit of space, tries to play a pass in front of Sophia Smith, but it's overcooked and it runs through to Muzovic, the goalkeeper.
Yeah, you could see the idea. Everything seems to be coming through Lindsay Horan. It's really good at the minute. She's setting the tempo. She's involved in all those kind of little triangles with Rodman and Alex Morgan, who's sitting in front of her, and Sonnet, who's sitting behind her. Everything good that seems to be happening for the USA, she's involved in, even setting the tone with the press and hassling to get the ball back when they lose possession. So yeah, I think that you can see her in the middle of the pitch demanding her players to get the ball forward. She can really feel that her team's on top. I think that's so important as a leader, that you demand them standards and that speed of play from the players around you, because they can sense it. And the Swedish, you can see they don't really know what to do. Aslani's asking, should she drop in on the pivot? Should she press Germa? She's not sure. And again, that delay in timing allows the Americans to then get out.
USA have been the most successful team in Women's World Cup history, winning the tournament in 91, in 99, in 15, in 19. They are on the attack here. Rodman on the edge of the box to Horan, whose presence in the game has become so considerable ever since she had that header off the crossbar. A slow opening half an hour to this game for the experienced Lindsay Horan, but now she's beginning to be the prominent figure. She tried to get in on the back of Jonna Andersson here on the right wing. It's cut out by the Swede, but pounced upon by the busy Trinity Rodman, who's into the penalty area here, tries to play it in low. Andy Sullivan had made a run into the penalty area. Rodman has scampered out towards the corner flag to keep possession, and the USA remain on the attack. 0-0 in Melbourne. Emily Fox, the latest American to break into the penalty area. 3 Swedes around her, gives it back to Horan. Crossing position, but cleverly plays a low ball to Fox, who's controlled it on the byline, but her cross hits the side netting. Another sigh of relief from the Swedes.
Yeah, again, this right-hand side, Horan, Rodman and Fox causing all sorts of problems for the Swedish. Just Fox there just stumbling into it, unfortunately, which meant that she slipped and ended up hitting into the side netting. But yeah, everything that's coming from this USA team seems to be down this right-hand side. So I think Sweden need to find a way of nullifying that and showing them probably down the other side. But then again, you've got a Sophia Smith who's full of pace, full of energy. So yeah, lesser of two evils at the minute for the Swedish, and they really need to find a way of kind of getting a hold of this game, because it's not that it's drifting away from them, it's thankfully still 0-0, and anything can happen, but for now it's very even. The Swedes will just be happy to still be in it.
Yeah, the big screens inside the stadium showing Megan Rapinoe warming up, hoping to come on for her 202nd cap, a player whose long history of providing big moments when it counts for her country. And it will be interesting to see how both coaches deploy their experienced players who are on the bench. Caroline Sager, a member for the Swedes, is available, vastly experienced too. Here's Angeldal, tries to crack one in from the edge of the penalty area, but it's been cut out. Germa's clearance doesn't pick out a teammate. Sweden could do with a spell of pressure inside their opponent's half. They've had to absorb a lot since half time. Another interception made, this time by Emily Sonnet on the edge of the American penalty area, but she can't bring it with her, and Aslani will pick it up for Sweden. It was a clever idea of a ball trying to pick out Kennard in the penalty area, but the American defence was alert to it, and they will break away from the back with Crystal Dunn. Sweden now have to get their tired bodies back into a defensive position. An hour played in Melbourne. Strong on the edge of the penalty area from Julie Ertz there. Sweden thought they might have had a free kick, but she's won it fairly, and now launches long crossfield too far in front of Sophia Smith. You'll hear from the boos what the referees think of that. Stephanie Frappart, the referee, points to her ear saying, look, if there's anything serious, the VAR will tell me about it. That's an interest. We're going to see the replay here. Blackstenius gets there first, gets a touch on the ball, and then there is the collision. It's robust, let's put it that way, from Julie Ertz. Has she gotten away with one there?
Yeah, I think she has. I think, like you said, Rolfo gets the touch, but it kind of then rolls into Ertz's back of her heels, but the momentum, that foul had already been committed. Yeah, so I just think it was very lucky that in real time it looked like she made a very good tackle. Even I was kind of saying, oh, it's a good tackle, but on reflection, probably should have been a free kick.
Sweden 0, USA 0. Crystal Dunn's through ball is in front of Alex Morgan, tries the first time cross left-footed, delivers it low into the middle, but Magdalena Eriksson is very well positioned, and Sweden clear it away. Not for long. Here comes the USA once more. Emily Sonnet rolling it back to the two central defenders, Germa and Ertz. Ertz bang on the halfway line. Sweden trying to stay busy, trying to stay up on their toes, trying to cut out the attack supply routes that the Americans might look for, but Smith could be in here in front of the goalkeeper. First touch was heavy. Musovic came out, spread her body well, and Sophia Smith should have done better there. She had time, she had space. Her first touch let her down, and then Musovic did the rest to nullify the threat. It's
quality from Musovic. You say they get over. Jon Anderson gets overloaded, makes the wrong decision to go on, and Trinity Rodman, and she just makes it. Soon as Sophia Smith takes that touch and puts her head down, the first thing she sees is a big red human coming flying at her, and that's as a goalkeeper, that's what you want to do. You need to put them off and make them hesitate slightly. And Musovic is a very strong, and she's about 6 foot as well, so you see that coming flying at you. It's very unnerving as a striker, and she makes a very good save, makes herself very big. Yeah, Musovic, who didn't play in any of the qualifiers for this World Cup, but she was in the squad 4 years ago, the 2019 tournament, and didn't play. She's risen to the fore at this tournament, and when called upon tonight, she's been the goalkeeper who's had saves to make in the match. Yeah, and she's been fantastic. Everything she's done, she's looked very solid, very confident. Everything she's probably taken in from the season with Chelsea last year. She had a lot more game time with Chelsea, playing a lot more bigger games against Arsenal, United in Champions League, and that does a lot for a goalkeeper's confidence. So when you come into these games, you're playing a similar level, so you don't feel as unconfident or as nervous. You're just doing your job, and you know you can execute it because you've done it previously, and she's been fantastic so far tonight. Sweden 0, USA 0. Knockout stages of the World Cup as Emily Fox comes forward. USA have had 8 attempts in the game, 3 of them on target. Sweden yet to provide a shot to trouble Elisa Nair. A few crosses have troubled her, but they've yet to produce a shot on target. Eriksson has possession of the back. Carly. I think the difference for me in this American side is when they possess the ball, it's how high their fullbacks are getting, and they almost create a box at the back. So you have Ertz and Germer and Sonnet and O'Sullivan who sit in front, which allows them to overload the wide areas and create these kind of triangles by pushing on Horan, and then O'Sullivan or Sonnet might join in whatever side they're at, and then one of the other fullbacks kind of pivots round and creates a 3. But it's very clever because it means they're getting a lot of numbers in wide areas and are able to create these parts of possession which are giving them a lot of joy and overloading the wide areas of Sweden, which they're really struggling with. Rolfo does well, real bite in her presence down the left hand side. Blackstenius more centrally helps it on to Philippa Angeldal. Sweden have possession inside the USA half. This is Ellen Rubinson to the right wing. Cannard, short ball back in field to Angeldal. Sweden are holding on to possession here, despite the biting tackles of Americans trying to nip in and get a touch. Sweden work a bit of space down the right hand side. This is good. Natalie Bjorn bursts for the byline. Match stride for stride by Naomi Girma. Strong, effective defending from the USA centre back. Yeah, she's one of the best at that. She's fantastic. Very athletic, very strong, but she's just so sensible and smart as well. She just takes her time, and she's very good at something that a lot of defenders can get. It's watching. She just watches the ball. She's just watching the ball all the time, not watching what the footwork of the forwards are doing. She's just concentrating on the ball, bides her time, and then knows when to make the right decision. Right, time for a change. This is interesting. Trinity Rodman, who had 2 attempts on target in the first half, is going to make way for the introduction of Lynn Williams. Williams, who started the last match against Portugal. It'll be her second appearance at this World Cup. Williams has got 15 international goals in the past. Fresh legs brought on, but are you surprised it's Rodman who makes way? Potentially. There was some rumours around camp that she missed a training session 1 or 2 days before with a little bit of illness. I seen when she got that knock off Magdalena Eriksson, I seen Alyssa Nair running over, get some drugs, so maybe she's not at 100%, and it's important that obviously every player on this pitch is running at 100%, so the change will be good. Lynn Williams is having a fantastic season, so yeah, I think that it's not a like for like, it might be something different, but yeah, she's not Trinity. I can see there Trinity's not looking the best, bless her, but yeah, it's where she is at this moment in time. But Lynn Williams, like I say, is a fantastic player, and she's I'm sure she's thrilled to be on the pitch, and she'll give it her all for this team. Yes, Rodman receiving treatment as soon as arriving at the bench, which would suggest that was the reason that she was hooked. 21 years of age, 78 days, the youngest USA player to start a knockout stage match at a World Cup since Cindy Parlow back in the final in 1999. But now Lynn Williams comes on, 30 years of age, as the USA look for cool heads as the stakes get higher and higher. We're into the final quarter now of the regulation 90 minutes on a day when it could take extra time and even penalties to separate them to see who goes through to face Japan in the quarterfinals.
Free kick to Sweden. Attacking position out on the right-hand side. Definitely not a shooting location, but one to try and deliver a cross into the centre. Asllani carefully places the ball, considers her options. These attacking set pieces have been a key part of Sweden's narrative of this tournament so far. They've been very good at scoring headed goals from either corners or free kicks. So let's see if Asllani can deliver the requisite ball in here. In on top of the goalkeeper, good lead, but well held on to by Nair. It was Angeldal who was jumping closest to her. Nair tries to bowl it out in front of the newcomer Lynn Williams, but beaten to it. Scrambling back Swedish defence, get it to the goalkeeper Musovic. It remains 0-0.
I mean, this is great for me. You bring a goalkeeper on to comms, and the two goalkeepers are doing really well. Alyssa Nair's dealt with everything aerially that's been thrown at her, looked very calm and composed, and then Musovic at the other end, having lots of saves to make, but again looking great. I mean, I'd love a goal, but in the way the two goalkeepers are playing as well, kind of don't want them to.
That's Carly Telford of the Goalkeepers Union watching this game with us on 5 Live Sports Extra, live from Melbourne. Sweden against the USA. If you look at the pattern of the tournament, Sweden have had this handy knack of getting late goals in games. 3 of their 4 matches now have been scoreless at the break, and they would love to upset the USA with a goal here that would really make the reigning champions sweat. Collision between 2 players, Angeldal and Lindsay Horan, and it's Horan who's slowest to get back to her feet, having borne the brunt of that. I think
Oof.
connection first on the knee, then in the hip, then the knee again. It was a triple connection by Angeldal, a full-blooded 50-50 challenge there.
Yeah, I think Angeldal's momentum just goes into the side of Lindsay Horan. It's a sore one. It's one of your softer areas around the ribs. If you get someone's hip into there, it's not nice and doesn't feel the best, but she'll just take her time. She might be a little bit winded. It was a heavy collision, but I'm sure she'll be all right. She's probably been hit hard, as long as it's none of her joints and just a little bit of being went. Yeah, she's fine. Look, she's solid.
Lindsay Horan back to her feet. Little word there with Alex Morgan. This is where the USA need to delve into their memory banks. They've got to use all the experience of previous knockout success for getting to see a replay on the monitors of that Lindsay Horan chance. What a save by Musovic. Hands down the best opportunity of the game, the closest we've come to a break in the deadlock. Can USA trust the process here, trust that they'll get another chance like it, and trust they will take it if it comes their way again?
Yeah, I must admit this is probably the best and most consistent we've seen this USA side play all competition. So I'm sure the fans will be brilliant, but it's not about taking advantage, and it would just be kind of their luck that they play this well and maybe don't win. So it's kind of a rough one for them, but at the same time, like that, they're still creating chances. They've still got, I think the difference for me in this game is going to be the subs. We've already seen one change being made in Lynn Williams, but when it comes to squad depth, and this is where your game changes or your substitutions are so important, it might come down to that. Who's going to come and take the game by the scruff of the neck? Who's going to come and take their chance, whether it's a set piece or a clear shot on goal. But yeah, we're coming into the last 20 minutes, and I'm sure there'll be changes from both sides happening to try and win this game.
Free kick to Sweden near the halfway line. How do USA get Alex Morgan into the ball? Because it doesn't feel like we've mentioned her name. She hasn't had many touches in the game. How can they get her involved a little bit more? We'll come back to that after this free kick, which is played in. High and hopeful, lands around the penalty spot, bounced awkwardly for Emily Fox, but she dealt with it well. Prodded the ball clear, more than a proper clearance. Rubinson will send it back into the mix. Horan defending well on the edge of her own penalty area, and Morgan picks it up here and is immediately challenged off the ball. Morgan ends up flat on her stomach. Sweden get possession just outside the USA penalty area. Asllani has a look up, delivers a clever low ball in front of Angeldal. There's a host of yellow shirts waiting in the middle. Can Sweden provide the delivery? Kennard back out to Asllani. A heavy touch again invites the challenge. Crystal Dunn is nipping in. That's excellent defending from the left back, but Asllani will be disappointed that she didn't get the ball delivered into the penalty area there. Here come the Americans. Morgan again in that central role. Can the Americans get her involved a bit further up the pitch? Lindsay Horan tries to spread things out to Lynn Williams, the substitute on the right wing, who fancies a canter here, pushes it beyond Anderson, gets to it, flashes in a very dangerous cross, but Smith can't get on the end of it, and Sweden breathe again.
It's a fantastic. Lynn Williams would have watched what Trinity Rodman's done. She knows Jon Anderson's 70 minutes into this game, probably starting to feel a little bit tired. Fresh legs comes on. She's very fast forward. It's what she does best. Is she's fast, she's strong, she's powerful, and just knocks it past Jon Anderson and gets it in her stride. And unfortunately for her, no one can keep up with her. She puts a fantastic ball across the edge of the 6-yard box, but nobody's there to get on the end of it. Everyone's trying to still catch her. Now,
this could be an opportunity for the USA. Smith gives it to Williams on the right-hand side, returns it to the byline. That was clever, but the cross, when it came in low, cleared away by Amanda Ilstedt. Had Sweden get it away. That was very much a move out of the Manchester City playbook. Little 1-2, get it to the byline and try and pull it back across the 6-yard box. Sweden survive.
Yeah, and it's looking like Sweden are starting to tire, and the pace and the power of this USA team starting to come with a bit of a tame effort. But yeah, it's the momentum's so with the USA right now, and they've got to capitalise on it, because this team will only get stronger probably as the Swedish make changes. And you know, in tournament football, it could just take a set piece, a mistake, but America are playing really well. They've got to keep backing themselves and doing the right things, and they're almost in a 4-2-4 if you look at them right now. Horan's gone up alongside of Sophia Smith, Alex Morgan's now on the left side, Lynn Williams on the right, and you've got Sonnet and O'Sullivan in the middle. So it's interesting to see how front-footed the Americans are being.
There's a chance for counter-attack for Sweden down the left wing. Rolfo will be beaten to it by Julie Ertz. Rolfo with a push on the lower back of Ertz as they both went over the byline. To be fair to the American, she's not made a big meal out of that, but it was a little bit petty from Rolfo. No need for that. The ball was clearly going to be going out anyway. Just shows the needle between these two teams, who both believe they should be the ones to go through to the quarter-final. You've mentioned fatigue a few times, Carly. 17 minutes of normal time to play. At what stage do Sweden think about introducing fresh legs? Because they've got on the field the 11 who started the match. I'm sure in Peter Gerhardsen's thoughts will be that this might go the full 120 minutes. He mightn't want to introduce those fresh legs too early.
No, and as well, they were able to rest players last game. So yeah, everyone's feeling probably pretty good. And again, you don't want to change things. If the team's not being torn apart, yes, America are having chances, but if he believes in this team that they can get what they need to, then he's going to leave them on the pitch for as long as he can.
Update BBC Radio 5 Live for a moment, so stand by on Sports Extra. Yes, it's still Sweden 0, USA 0. This has become high jeopardy now between the two highest ranked teams left in the tournament. Sweden on the attack, but it's cleared away by Emily Sonnet. The USA have been on top. They've had the best chances, but they've been denied by Zakira Musovic, the Chelsea goalkeeper, who has pulled off some heroics to keep this game at 0-0. There's been one substitution in the game. Lynn Williams has come on from the USA. Might be time for some fresh legs from Sweden, but as things stand, this is heading towards extra time perhaps. Sweden 0, USA 0 for now. We've got a quarter of an hour of the regulation 90 to go. Clearance there hit the referee, which is going to result in a drop ball to restart play uncontested, and USA have possession inside their penalty area, away to the left hand side as we look down. Long clearance by Elisa Nair, who hasn't kicked with her boot that often down the field. It's usually been bowling it out with her arms, but USA need to get it down the other end. Morgan tries to get it in front of Lynn Williams, who has given another spark since coming on. She's got great pace on that right wing, making life very difficult for Jonna Andersson. Andersson copes there, but a chance comes. The shot from Emily Sonnet. She seemed a little off balance as she struck it. She had a clear sight of goal. It's off target in the end. How many lives is Sweden going to have? How many of these are they going to get away with? The marking was a little bit slack there. Sonnet should have hit the target.
Yeah, she had a lot more time, I think, than she realised, and probably should have just tried to place it in the corners, because she had either side to choose from. There's no one really pressing her. It's a bit of a late challenge there on Alex Morgan, but again, they're really struggling to clear their lines, and Lynn Williams has had such a really positive effect down this right-hand side, so I don't know how they're going to kind of start dealing with that and what they're going to do, but Sweden probably need to do something very quick and stop it coming down this right-hand side.
There was a high risk but excellent tackle in there from Jonna Andersson, who, stretching in the penalty area, had that been mistimed even a fraction, it would have been a penalty, but she knew what she was doing. She got the ball and made that very important challenge. Andersson taking a throw in for Sweden, left full back position, midway inside her own half, sends it up over the halfway line where it's met by the head of Julie Ertz for the USA. Jumping in the midfield is Andy Sullivan, can't get full control of the ball. Philippa Angeldal of Manchester City clears it into American territory, comes straight back again, a header from Crystal Dunn. No goals in Melbourne. Naomi Girma clears it away, but can't pick out a teammate. This is Ellen Rubinson on the halfway line for Sweden. Plays a short ball in front of Angeldell. Now down the channel on the right-hand side to Stina Blackstenius, who likes to roam into these wide positions in search of some space. Girma comes across and makes the challenge. The last touch came off the Arsenal player Blackstenius, much to the disappointment of the Swedes, and you can hear the dissatisfaction of their supporters in the background. That's going to be a throw into the USA.
Yeah, that happened in the Swedish corner of the ground as well, and you could hear them all. But yeah, it's again very patient from Girma, kind of waits, bides her time, and then nips when she can. But yeah, it's very similar to what the past 25 minutes have been. And USA carving out kind of half chances. Musovic hasn't had to make a save for a while, and then the Swedes trying to go down the outside and put in crosses, but not very successful. It's all very predictable now. I think Crystal Dunn, Emily Fox have done very well, and looks like they're going to bring on Lena Hurtig and try and make something different happen down the outsides and in the wide areas. But at the minute, it's all very predictable. It's probably the opposite what we've seen first half. The USA were very predictable first half and first 25 minutes, and Sweden haven't really done enough to affect the game and have Mega Lessenair make a save.
So the clock ticks on. 12 and a half minutes of normal time to play. The USA with 1 win and 2 draws in the group stage, yet to fire in all cylinders. And it looks like it's going to be a double change for Sweden, as well as Lena Hurtig. They're also going to bring on Sofia Jakobsen. Jakobsen, who plays her club football in the United States. And San Diego will know a lot of these opponents very well. Here's Horan. Good ball down the right wing for the busy Lynn Williams, who's been a live wire since coming on. Twisting and turning with Jonna Andersson, getting to the byline. Andersson sticking to the task, trying to stand up the opponent. Very good defending from Andersson. Sweden regained possession. Should be able to clear it away here. Rolfo, Andersson once more. They're not rushing it. They are keeping their heads, and Sweden delivering a pass up towards the halfway line intended for Blackstenius, who felt she was being held onto by Julie Ertz. More boos from the Swedish fans. Play on, says the referee. Sophia Smith, who got a couple of goals in the group stages, taking on Natalie Bjorn, the right back for Sweden. Smith, who's got gloves on, indicating the cold weather of the Australian winter. Still in possession here. Looked like she was going to head backwards, but she's turned back at herself now, trying to create the room for a cross. Needs some support. The Americans hold on to it, but they're back into a deeper position now with Naomi Girma. Good pressure from Sweden to force the USA back, and we're almost into the final 10 minutes now of this game, plus the stoppages to go. Here's Smith again. Hoops in a cross that's too close to the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think they're doing all the right things, but it's probably now you're looking at the clock, 80 minutes, and it does rush you, it does panic you. You feel like we need to make something happen. We've had all this good possession, like, can we get a shot away? We've been down the left-hand side a couple of times. You get in that position, you kind of rush the cross when it didn't really need to be, and just Sophia Smith skews that one straight into Musovic's arms. But yeah, it's good. The USA are being patient. They're realising when they don't need to, they're coming back out and going around. It's now just about being patient enough to get that little bit of quality that they've been missing and an end product, which is, it's been a while since either side's had a shot at goal, which is shows where the game's at. It's all going to be playing in the middle of the pitch.
Sweden's still waiting to make that double change. Lena Hurtig of Arsenal, who scored against the USA the last time these sides met. That was in a friendly 2 years ago. She's got to come on. Sofia Jakobsen as well, formerly of Chelsea and Bayern Munich in the past. 10 minutes to go on the big stadium clock as Jonna Andersson tries to play a ball in front of Frida Nino Rolfo, too far in front of the Barcelona player, and the USA deal comfortably with that. Heavy touch off the shin pad of Lynn Williams, though, puts the ball out of play. Throw into Sweden on the left-hand side. They've absorbed a lot of punches. Can they come out and throw a few of their own now, the Swedes? That's a good ball. Rolfo in central to Blackstenius, who's not had a sight of goal in the game so far and won't get one there. Julie Ertz stood up strong in front of her. Morgan controls well on the chest, gives a little layoff to Horan. And immediately the challenge comes in from Rubinson. Throw into the USA, and this break in play now should allow the space for the Swedes to make their double substitution. Johanna Rytting-Kennard of Chelsea will be the first to depart. Warm applause to the Swedish fans for her endeavours. Aslani will be the other. Kosovo Aslani on her 173rd cap. So the fresh legs of Hurtig and Jakobsen are on. Let's see what impact they can make in these closing stages now.
Yeah, exactly. Sophia's probably going to come on that right-hand side. Hurtig, it'll be interesting to see if she comes on this left-hand side and they maybe move a Rolf or a Stina into that kind of half, or Angadal into that almost 10 position that she's been playing. But yeah, they're both wide players, so you got fresh legs in the wide areas, which is probably what they've needed. Yeah, it looks like Rolfo's gone into a more central role next to Sullivan. So yeah, it's interesting what changes that's going to bring. Are they going to continue and just hopefully, like you say, outplace down the wide areas now they've got fresh legs in there against Dunn and Fox, or are they going to try something a little bit different?
The frustration for the USA, the reigning champions, is that they have had the better chances tonight and haven't been able to take them. Sweden just hoping one big opportunity could come their way between now and 90 minutes that could settle this last 16 match in regulation time. There are 8 minutes remaining until we move into stoppages. Again, America tried to release Sophia Smith down the left, but again the pass is overcooked and it squirts its way out for a goal kick to Sweden. Just perusing the faces of the supporters, there's a nerve, there's an anguish. Big cheers for some fans with the cameras on them, the smiles and the waves, but in the moments when they don't think the pictures are on them, there's a lot of fingernails being bitten from both sides. The stakes are so high from two teams who believe they can go all the way at this World Cup. Ertz plays it forward for the USA, gives the ball away though, straight to Eriksson at the back for Sweden. Herkig tries to control it but can't make it stick. Good turn by Horan. Little drag back to herself to create a little bit of space. Creative from the American number 10. Doesn't rush things now. Looks for the calming pass to Emily Fox on the right hand side. Back into Lindsay Horan. Low ball towards the feet of Emily Sonnet. Now they'll try to hook it out to the right hand side. Fox has made a good run. Leans back as she sends in the cross. It's just too high in the centre for Alex Morgan, and it also drifts clear of Sophia Smith, and Sweden are able to clear the ball away. 0-0 in Melbourne. Good work to win possession back again by Emily Sonnet for the USA. Kierma looks up and sees that Fox has room on the right hand side. Lynn Williams ahead of her. Fox tries to go infield. Well anticipated by Amanda Elisted. Sweden regained possession. Sweden yet to have an attempt on target in the game. Careless ball in the midfield is played behind Herkig, and USA win it back again. Carly Telfer.
I must admit the balance of America's midfield today. Oh, they're in.
Here's an opportunity. Alex Morgan takes 3 touches and hits the side netting. She quite simply took too long. The flag was raised anyway. Maybe she knew that she was going to be offside, but that could have sealed the game there had Alex Morgan been on target and had she been more sharp when it came to her in the box.
Yeah, I think as well, it was a very tight one. I think it could have went to VAR, but she just didn't look on her right foot, didn't look as confident. I'm surprised she didn't kind of drag it back and try and get it onto her left foot. But yeah, talking about America's balance in the midfield, I must admit they've been very front-footed, very direct. They've hassled and hustled the Swedish midfield, give them no time on the ball to have any kind of... I feel like they've had no real effect in this game because of that. But here comes Sweden.
Here comes Sweden once again, looking to break the deadlock. Good movement. Sophia Jakobsen, an attempt on target. It comes back off the goalkeeper. And the substitute delivering what Sweden have taken 85 minutes to produce. A shot on target saved by Alicia Nair. That's much better for the Swedes.
Yeah, and Sophia is so good at that, Jakobsen. She scored against me in a World Cup doing exactly that from the other side. That kind of shimmy and then shuffles it onto her right or left foot, and she's looking to bend it in that far corner as she cuts inside. So if you give her half a space and half a moment to drive inside the box, you will open up that far side and try and kill it. Just quite didn't get it right, and it went straight at Nair. But again, so much more positive. And that first shot in 85 minutes, look, it's given Sweden a little bit more momentum now as they retain possession again around the edge of the USA box.
Both teams still full of energy. United States win it back on the edge of their own penalty area. Nair relieved that Sophia Jakobsen's shot was straight at her into the either corner. It would have been 1-0 Sweden, and the USA could be facing elimination for the tournament. As it is, Emily Sonnet plays a pass that's too firm in front of Emily Fox. That's a rare misplaced pass from the Americans, who've been very good in that regard. Coach Vlatko Andonovsky holds both arms outstretched, said, come on, we've got to get those basics right. Sullivan has it in the midfield, plays it back to Julie Ertz, and now to Naomi Girma on the left-hand side. It would appear we're heading towards extra time. Two teams that haven't been able to separate themselves over these 85 minutes we've had so far. Good turn by Lindsay Horan, but not a good pass, and that's going to go out for a Swedish throw.
No, I think she thought Lynn Williams had continued her run there and kind of played a blind pass down the let's get my words right, down the wing. Lynn had stopped running, unfortunately, so yeah, it goes out for a throw-in. But yeah, it's very tentative times now. You know, any mistake, any goal, any consolation of a set piece could be the end of your tournament right now. So it'll be interesting to see how the last 5 minutes go. It might peter out a little bit as both teams kind of conserve themselves, or is one team going to really go for it in these last 5 minutes and try and get a winner?
Well, that is it. The mindset, the game management is going to be so key here now. Who's going to be braver? Who's going to be the more conservative? Which would be the right approach? As Jakobsen, who's keen to make an impact, having only come on in the final 10 minutes of normal time, but an impact is being made on that right wing, and her persistence there, as much as anything, wins a throw-in for her side.
Yeah, two teammates going at each other there. Naomi Germer and Sophia Jakobsen, they know each other very well. So yeah, you could see that Nay had come across to kind of sweep that ball up, and Sophia went with a full press and gets a reward from it in a throw-in.
Ball goes out for a corner now. Corner for Sweden. Fridolina Rolfo applying the pressure to Andy Sullivan.
This is exactly what Sweden would have wanted in the 88th minute. Is an opportunity from a set piece. As an American defence, you're kind of right. Everyone needs to do their jobs, concentrate. You're fatigued, you're tired. As everyone switched on, everyone lock onto your play. You're looking at each other. Come on, we need this moment. But as the Swedish are thinking, this is the time. We've practiced this hundreds of times. If we can get this one moment right, this could be us in the quarterfinals.
Alistair has gone forward. 3-headed goals already. Arsenal fans can't wait to see her in their shirt this coming season. She's standing in front of the goalkeeper. This is a big moment in the game. Just over 2 minutes to play. The delivery's got to be right. It's good. Goalkeeper comes. It's headed in front of her though. Headed away by Morgan initially. Then Ertz tries to complete the clearance, and the follow-up shot by Angeldal was off balance. And there's no threat there from Sweden. And the USA breathe a sigh of relief. They've survived that dangerous set piece.
No, you think my favourite part of that is as Angeldal shot goes wayward. It's the reaction of Lindsay Horan just rallying her troops, telling everybody well done. It's a huge moment in the 88th, 89th minute to defend a set piece. Everyone's putting their bodies and their heads on the line and clearing the ball. And yeah, very good from USA. They've dealt with all the set pieces really, really well. They'll be very pleased, but they need a goal. It's going to count for nothing.
Sweden, who beat Italy 5-0 in their second game, their biggest win of the tournament since 1991, when they had an 8-0 win over Japan, who weren't the Japan of these days back then. But can the Swedes provide a late goal here as the United States come forward? Emily Fox's cross is blocked down. Good hunger from Lynn Williams, though, to pick up the loose ball. That's an excellent cross in.
Oh,
what a save by Muzovic to push it away.
Wow.
The USA banging on the door. The best attempt of Alex Morgan of the match. She got the header down. It was heading for the bottom corner, but Muzovic across to push it away from danger.
Unbelievable save. What a ball by Lynn Williams, and Alex Morgan gets on the end of it. But what a save from Muzovic. She's been unbelievable this game.
Smith's low cross can't pick out a teammate. Into the final 60 seconds of the 90 minutes now. Sullivan plays it forward for the USA. Horan to Lynn Williams on the right-hand side. Her crosses have been so dangerous. This one picks out Morgan again, but the header is a looping one. It's much easier save from Muzovic. Sweden's goalkeeper has been one of the outstanding players of this game so far, and has kept this match at 0-0 at times.
Yeah, I mean, they'll look at it, and can Alex Morgan get that a little further in the corner? But what you got to appreciate from a goalkeeper's perspective is, as she moves from the front post to the middle of the goal, it's the quickness of her footwork. It's she gets herself in a great position to be able to push and make a good save and push it into an area that's not as dangerous. But yeah, it was really good play from Lynn Williams, a great ball in, and a good header from Alex Morgan. Maybe disappointed that it didn't go further in the corner, but here they come again.
So we are into what is only going to be 2 minutes added on for stoppages, which by the standards of this tournament is very low. There haven't been many injury stoppages, there haven't been many substitutions, so it's probably about right, but it seems a paltry amount given the standards we're used to in the big tournaments these days. So not long to go. Extra time beckoning in Melbourne, unless someone can grab the bull by the horns here and become the hero. America go long. Morgan in around the back of Eilested, gets a touch that brings her a little bit wide. She's got three waiting in the middle. Morgan looks up and the whistle blows because she was offside anyway, and the delayed flag raised in the end. Morgan, who had tried to run in around the back of the defenders, and I don't know if she was offside, you know. But that's been the decision once the immediate threat came when she went out into a crossing position. The referee felt it was a new phase and the flag went up.
Yeah, it's very interesting because You could argue though, but Alex Morgan hadn't lost possession of the ball, so the phase so let it play out and then review it afterwards. And they were in a good position. They're in the 18-yard box. He's ready to cross it.
Yeah, I agree.
Offside flag goes up. Very interesting. But here we are.
A curious. The whole idea of keep the flag down is wait to see how it pans out, and they certainly haven't waited for that to peter out. Here come America again, though, down the right-hand side. Lynn Williams. Can there be a late twist in this tail? The ball delivered in, headed away at the back by Elliston, who's been very solid. Picked up by Smith here for the Americans, 10 yards outside the penalty area. Good strong challenge, and the ball is cleared down the left wing, where Stina Blackstenius has just taken up the position now, but matched stride for stride by Julie Ertz, and the USA get it back again, but they've only got 20 seconds of the 2 minutes remaining. Sweden 0, USA 0. The two highest ranked teams left in the tournament. They've cancelled each other out in effect. USA with the better chances throughout the game, but Sweden refusing to buckle and might have nicked one themselves. There's Horan.
Looks like that could be it.
Battling on, puts it out for the throw. Referee points to the centre circle. And that is the 90 minutes complete. 0-0. We're going to have another half hour in Melbourne. And if it felt tense at kickoff, how tense does it feel now? This has another way to go.
It's been an unbelievable game for it to be 0-0, to be honest. I think USA have finally looked like the USA we've expected them, and Sweden have hung in there. Musovic has been huge for them. But yeah, it's going to be now, see if there's going to be any changes. We know the depth of this American team and the experience they've got on the bench. Have Sweden played all their cards? I don't think they've got many players that they've other players they've rotated within this tournament. So this could be it for Sweden in terms of what's out on that pitch is what's going to finish the game. But we know how strong and how deep this American team is, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Rapinoe or anyone else comes on tries to affect the game. But if it wasn't for Zecira Musovic, this team could be 2 or 3 down and the game could be completely over. So it's from my perspective, she was one of my teammates, and I'm really happy that she's ex-teammates and she's shining. But as a neutral, we'd have loved to have seen more goals. Of course we would have, but it's an exciting extra time coming up if USA can maintain this kind of aggressive way of playing.
Deadlocked at 0-0, one way or the other. We're going to get a winner. The USA, who had 1 win and 2 draws in the group stage. Now, no team has ever gone on to reach the Women's World Cup final, having only had 1 victory in the group stage of that tournament. Have you seen enough improvement to suggest that they're beginning to shake off the cobwebs, or do you think some of the old problems still remain?
No, I think they've looked very good. I don't know whether it's the changes they've made. Obviously, Rose Lavelle's missing. They've gone with 2. They've put Sonnet in midfield alongside Sullivan, and that's allowed Horan to kind of roam around a bit. They've had a lot of interchanges with Sophia Smith drifting in from the outside of the pitch and Crystal Dunn being higher, so they've tried to get more numbers around Alex Morgan, which I think that's been the problem. There's a lot of players being played in isolation for America, which means it's looked very disjointed and very bitty. But for the first time ever, we've seen lots of good play from them, going through the thirds, stuff that we'd associate with an American team, along with their athleticism and their strength in wide areas. I think it's been very positive for them. But again, it would be sod's law as such, is that they play really well in this game and then go on and don't win, when they haven't really played well in the past few and not looked great. So yeah, it's just whether they can make and punish this Swedish team for not playing as well as we would like to have seen a Swedish team play so far.
Yeah, both teams are in huddles in front of their respective technical areas. The coaches are using this time to create positive thoughts, I'd imagine. I mean, Colin, you've been in this situation. What sort of things do the coaches say? I mean, how much of it is tactical and how much is it about mindset and belief once you reach this sort of situation?
Well, yeah, you've got 2 very different camps there as well. You've got USA have come off the back of creating some really good chances, and I'm sure Vlatko's in there just saying, just keep doing what we do and keep going down the right hand side. We're creating some brilliant chances, we've just now got to execute. And then you've got a Swedish team who's saying, look, we know we can be better. Where can we hurt them? Where can we be more effective? Where can we, if we're clearing balls, can we put them in better areas so that it's not coming straight back at us? And just to keep believing in what their game plan is. The Swedish players are very much, they believe in what they're doing and believe their capabilities. They just need one chance, and I'm sure Magdalena Eriksson is saying, we just need one chance, guys. If we can stay in it, we're going to get that chance. The USA have just got to keep it locked down basically and doing what they're doing, and I'm sure it'll come down to one moment in this game and someone's going to take it, and if not, we're going to penalties.
Yeah, USA are the big name that People are wondering if they're going to slip out of the tournament. Sweden, who are, so used to being in these knockout stages themselves, they've been to 4 semi-finals. They've progressed from the group stage, 8 of their 9 World Cup appearances now. They have experience of this situation too. There's a nice little smile between the two captains there, Magdalena Eriksson and Lindsay Horan, as they met at the halfway line. Two warriors who are relishing this battle now and hope that they're well prepared for this 30 minutes to come.
Yeah, no, it's a great place to be. It's where you want to be. It's everything's on the line. It's knockout football. It's everything you've been building up for in 4 years. Swedish will be happy they've got to this point. They're not out of it yet. USA have just be wanting to finally get a goal for all their good play, but that lady there, Zecira Musovic, is saying not today maybe. So I would hate to see her on the end of a losing side after the game she's had, but again, it comes down to who's going to take their chance, and it's going to be interesting again if we see any more changes throughout this extra time as well.
Sweden 0, USA 0. This is the Women's World Cup last 16, live from Melbourne. 5 Live Sports Extra and BBC Sounds. We're about to get underway for extra time. Quarter of an hour each way to see if they can be separated. No further changes in personnel. Sweden, who made 2 changes towards the end of the regulation 90, bringing on Herkig and Jakobsen. The introduction of Lynn Williams has been the only change for the United States. Sweden now playing from left to right, and immediately they come on the attack. Jakobsen flashes in across from the right-hand side, headed out by Andy Sullivan. Received by Joanna Anderson, who's got Lena Herkig ahead of her on the left-hand side. Very good strength by Lynn Williams, back helping out the defence to lean into Herkig to win possession. And the Americans will build their way out for the back. It's played back out to Lynn Williams. She's now over the halfway line, but it just run out of steam there as a rather, desperate lunge of the ball to try and deliver across to the centre, was always careering close to the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think that's as a player, you've done lots of defensive work. You kind of want the ball to go the other way, other side of the pitch, and it comes back to you and your tired legs. Just kick it a little bit longer than you need it to. But you can see what the Swedish are trying to do with the fresh legs of Sofia Jakobsen and Lena Hertig. Get down the outsides and try and create something and get balls into the box, whether it's a clip ball in the air for a roll for a Blackstenian house to get on the end of, or whether it's a kind of cut back and for a midfielder to kind of arrive on the end of. But the minute's not just quite clicking for them, and I think Sonnet and Sullivan have done really well in those areas to cut them things out.
It's an interesting whole prospect, this. This will be one of the most watched games of the tournament so far in terms of a global audience. People tuning in, seeing 0-0 and thinking, okay, this has obviously not been a cracker, but that intensity, that nervousness, the jeopardy, which is a huge part of what this game is about, that is now only elevated. I mean, in many ways, you can't take your eye off of this because of the fact it's not been full of fireworks.
Yeah, exactly. And the hardest thing and the saddest thing about this, it'll come down to, like you say, a moment of brilliance or potentially a mistake. When it gets you this tired, you're fatigued mentally, physically, and you're trying to think of all the things that you're meant to be remembering, whether it's a set piece, your position in or out of possession. As a goalkeeper, like communication, you look there, does she leave it, does she not? These little things start leaking in.
Crystal Dunn with the header that maybe she might have left for the goalkeeper. It produced a crossing opportunity for Jakobsen. Attempt on the edge of the penalty area from Ellen Rubinson, hits the back of a defender. USA are holding on, but Sweden continue to attack with Lena Herkig on the left-hand side. Fresh legs having recently come on as a substitute. Clever ball by Rubinson towards the edge of the penalty area. Herkig gets another chance, unselfishly lays it off, then 2 get in each other's way. Rolfo was leaving it for Angeldal, and vice versa, as again a cross comes in. Goalkeeper collides off a teammate. Referee is going to blow the whistle with the keeper down. And the USA breathe again. Sweden have come out of the blocks well at the start of this extra time first period.
That is an unbelievable piece of goalkeeping. She comes so far, and you're thinking, because Hertig's the wrong side or the right side of Naomi Girma. She doesn't come out, and to be fair, she does just clatter Hertig. But you've got to try and affect her, and to have an effect on a clear header. If she stays on her line there, it's a clear header to goal. But she comes out and affects it, and again, she kind of puts her off. But yeah, it's kind of the first clump we've seen where Sweden have gone from side to side and picked up a couple of balls on the edge of the box, and to the players getting each other's way. But yeah, it's much more positive from Sweden, and what we want to see.
I have to challenge you on that for the goalkeeper's point of view, Carly. I mean, if that's an outfield player,
oh yeah, it's a free kick.
It's a red card. It's a penalty. I mean, there are different rules, aren't there, when the goalkeepers come out?
We are slightly protected.
Protected species, indeed.
For lots of good reasons.
Sweden 0, USA 0. Extra time in the last 16 of the Women's World Cup, and Naomi Girma plays a right-footed ball cleverly into space in front of Emily Fox. I think the two fullbacks for the USA have had good games. Fox on the right, Crystal Dunn on the left. Fox particularly in her willingness to come forward. Exchanging passes here with Lindsay Horan midway inside the Swedish half. Fox tries a little nutmeg on Lena Herkig. Herkig snaps her ankle shut, and the ball goes out of play for a throw into the USA. In the first 5 minutes of this extra time period have flown by. 10 minutes to the break. USA have possession with Andy Sullivan on the halfway line, leaning back as she sends a right-footed ball in front of Sophia Smith, who does pick up very good positions, just can't control that one over the top, and it goes out for a goal kick to Sweden. 0-0.
And that's sometimes the frustrating thing with extra time, because USA have all the momentum and then you have a break in play. Sweden get to kind of come back together, discuss how they can beat what can they do. Also stops the momentum of the USA team. As you can see, they haven't quite clicked again since we've restarted. But yeah, it's been better from Sweden, and they'll be hopeful with what they're producing so far, that they can go on and try and nick something and keep building possession and momentum back, because they've really struggled in this game to have that.
USA, who didn't score in their final group game against Portugal, they haven't scored in this game so far in Melbourne. It's the first time ever that the USA have gone 2 consecutive games in a World Cup without scoring in the 90 minutes. Morgan tries a left-footed shot that was somehow on target from a tight angle, and Musovic, guarding her front post, pushes it out for a corner. Alex Morgan, who's had a quiet World Cup, has had a quiet start to this game, but as it's gone on, is getting more and more involved, and that's 2 big chances Morgan has had now.
Yeah, it's real goalkeeping from Zecira Musovic, as it looked like Alex wasn't going to get a shot away there, but she manages to, and these players are the best in the world for a reason. Alex probably would agree that she hasn't had the best tournament so far, but she just needs a moment, and that's what she's really good at. You could see she gets a snapshot away, and Musovic is there again to make another save. Looks like someone's got cramp.
Yeah, delay in play, and this might become a feature now. Physio's on, trying to help with cramp. 96 minutes on the stadium clock, and very much anguish on the face of Vlatko Andonovski, the USA coach. Sweden are preparing to make another change here.
Yeah, Everton player Bennison.
Anna Bennison. And this might be in response to Angel Dahl being down and needing treatment. She fell heavily on her knee. We're just getting to see a replay there.
It's funny what can set the cramp off. Sometimes you just fall the wrong way, stretch the wrong way, and it's the calf goes, and then once it kind of sets in, it's very hard to shake off. And again, you can't have anyone running at 70%, 75%. You need people at 90, 100% at all times in this period of the game. But yeah, they're forced into a substitution here, which looks like they might not wanted to have made, but she's a very good player.
But it's a positive one as well, isn't it? Bennison, who's got to come on. Certainly more attack-minded than defensively-minded. This isn't a shut-up-shop substitution. This is a go-and-get-a-winner substitution.
No, exactly. She's a very attacking-minded player, highly rated, is one of the best young players in the world last year when Everton signed, or the year before. So yeah, it's a very positive change from Sweden.
Here comes the American corner, in-swinger from Sullivan. Bit too low at the front post, despite Julie Ertz's attempts to get there. Sweden get it away. USA return it out to Sullivan, immediately tackled by Stina Blackstenius. And a cheer from American fans because Megan Rapinoe has taken off her tracksuit top and is getting ready to come on, going through the formalities of preparing to arrive as a substitute. As Sullivan from a long way out tries a Hail Mary sort of attempt for a goal, but it's a way off target. And now Rapinoe time. A very influential player, one of the faces really of the global game in recent times. Can Megan Rapinoe make her mark in Melbourne and secure the United States passage through to the quarterfinals?
And you know, when they say stories could be written, this could be Megan Rapinoe's moment. Has sat very patiently on the bench for the first time in a major tournament, and yeah, she's about to come on. And can she be the difference maker? Use her experience, her tactical awareness, her game management, but also her quality to have a positive effect on this game and get that goal that the USA are still looking for.
Right, here she comes. The cheers from the USA supporters. Megan Rapinoe on for a 202nd international cap. This is a very good option to have in reserve, and it's Alex Morgan who makes way. Morgan, who had 2 chances late in the game and wasn't able to take them. Rapinoe, who scored against Sweden the last time these sides met in a friendly in 2021.
Yeah, they'll probably put Lynn Williams up top and Megan Rapinoe slide in the right-hand side.
Rapinoe, who, you know, all her experience at World Cup, I mean, remarkably, not just playing in all these tournaments, but playing against Sweden at a World Cup for the 4th time. That's how experienced she is.
And I take that back, she's gone the left side and they've put Sophia Smith up top.
Yes, Sophia Smith, who has, I think, looked really, really dangerous. And they would love to create a goal-scoring opportunity for her. This is Sophia Jakobsen for Sweden. Sweden playing left to right as we look down in there. Yellow shirts, blue shorts, yellow socks. The USA all in white. Lynn Williams sends it early this time, looking to bring Rapinoe into the game. Lurking on the edge of the penalty area, dealt with by Elistad. But then it falls down. Emily Sonnett wasn't able to react to what was a shooting position on the edge of the penalty area, but took too long to get the ball under her spell, and Sweden are able to clear away. Good work from Emily Fox to win it back again. This is Andy Sullivan in the midfield. Sweden 0, USA 0. Rapinoe's got to get involved. Difficult one to control. Bounced up into her midriff and out it goes for a goal kick. She'll be disappointed not to have got onto that one.
Yeah, Emily Sonnett not in a usual position right on the edge of the box there. You could see she probably could have had a shot. She had more time than what she thought, and then the ball gets recycled. Sullivan delivers a lovely ball out to Megan Rapinoe, but again, when you first come on, getting used to speed of the game, speed of the pass, just bounces awkwardly off her thigh and out for a goal kick.
It's interesting, you can see the respect the other American teammates have for Rapinoe. Since she's come on, they're just looking for her straight away. They're drilling passes in her direction.
Yeah, well, she's the freshest on the pitch as well, so if you can get it out to her, is there an opportunity she could create for herself by going past someone 1v1.
Almost a mistake by Rubinson, but she recovers in time. Might have hurt herself in stretching there. Slow to just twist her knee. She gets back up to a standing position, breaking now into a jog, and she's going to be okay. Sweden, who've hardly put a foot wrong in the game, as Carly's referenced, it's either going to be a moment of brilliance or it's going to be someone's mistake, and looked a little bit like a mistake as Hannah Bennison lost the ball inside her own half. Chance for America. Williams from a tight angle, saved by the goalkeeper and pushed away. Horan following up, tries to get it on target, and Elistad heads it out for a corner. Well, Zecira Musovic is having one of the games of her life as she pushes it out for another corner.
It's quality from Sophia Smith. She drives through the heart of the defence, which means everyone has to pinch in and narrow off to stop the shot, which gives Lynn Williams some time out wide. She does exactly what you'd want Lynn Williams to do, is try and aim for that far corner, but Musovic is equal to it again, and she puts into a great area because Rapinoe was following in very quickly, but it goes past her.
So Megan Rapinoe has placed the ball to take this corner kick. Left-hand side as the United States come forward. Sky blue dye in her hair as she prepares to send the cross in, but it's a miscue. And that goes out for yet another corner. We're just going to give an update to our listeners on our sister station 5 Live. So Sports Extra listeners, just hold with us when we break away in just a moment. Corner to the USA. We're approaching half-time in extra time. 0-0, a game that has been deadlocked between the two highest ranking teams in the tournament. Megan Rapinoe's come on for the USA as they search a route to the quarterfinals. Japan await in the next round. 0-0 for now. The corner coming in from Rapinoe is an in-swinger towards the front post, and harmlessly wide, and stern expressions on the face of the United States fans, and this has become squeaky bum time now in Melbourne.
It has. And that corner though, you could see Juliet making that run to the front post. So I think it's actually a ploy to whip it in that near post. Juliet to get some sort of flick on and maybe get the second ball off that. But yeah, anything that seems to be going anywhere near that goal at the minute, Zecira Musovic seems to be equal to it. So they need to find another way of unpicking that lock. Shots from distance aren't quite working.
Andy Sullivan wins the ball in midfield, but she won it unfairly. It's judged to be a foul on Stina Blackstadius. Free kick to Sweden. It's a combination of Sonnett and Sullivan put the Arsenal player as the meat in the sandwich. Free kick. Now that means they send forward the tall defenders, and Elistad, looking for her 4th headed goal of the tournament, is clearly the figure to watch on the edge of the penalty area here, the number 13. USA bring everyone back to defend this. Just over 90 seconds of time to go until the break in extra time. It's played in, goalkeeper decided early to come. Nair lost her footing just as she punched it down. It wasn't a complete clearance initially, but the USA do now hammer it clear. Chance to put this back into the mix, as so many yellow shirts have remained forward from the free kick, but header away by Julie Ertz. USA still midway inside their own half. Lynn Williams, who's been very good since her introduction as a substitute during the regulation 90 minutes. Crystal Dunn picks it up on the left-hand side in the orange boots. Low ball over the halfway line to Rapinoe. Rapinoe knew that Dunn was continuing the run, tried to slip it back into her slipstream, but Sophia Jakobsen is across to cut out the pass. And that is a throw into the USA as we move into the final minute of the first half of extra time. Illisted on the edge of her own penalty area. Touches it down for Sophia Jakobsen. Still energy in the legs of both of these teams. Sweden, who were able to rest 9 players for their final group game, knowing their passage to this last 16 was already secure. Can that help them in these stages of extra time now? Crystal Dunn at left back, immediately pounced upon by Sophia Jakobsen, who wins it back for Sweden. Crossing position on the right hand side. Rolfo, though, swarmed by American defenders, unable to deliver the cross, and out it goes for a throw into the Swedes. Still 0-0.
I would love to have known what training sessions Alyssa Nair's had in the build-up to this game, because I feel like it would have been a lot of deliver into bodies and you come out and command your area, because she's done it so well. And I've played against her many a time, and I've never seen her so front-footed in any game that I've ever seen. And she's been so aggressive, so positive, and it's really helped out that back line, because if you know your keeper's coming, you just protect your areas, make sure you're around for second balls, and the USA have dealt with it really well. But it's all from her positive starting position, and that doesn't just happen. That has to be something you've worked on, you've been coached on, and everyone kind of knows what's going to happen. So yeah, it's all credit to her and whatever the coaching staff and goalkeeping coach has done with her.
1 minute to be added on for stoppages at the end of the first half of extra time. Sweden 0, USA 0, as the Swedes continue to come on the attack. Jonna Andersson on the left, slow to get back to her feet is Stina Blackstenius. This is played back from her kick through the midfield. Sweden cleverly now just holding possession here, taking a little bit of fizz out of a game. They don't want any late drama ahead of the break here. As they hold on to possession in the midfield. Ellisted across to Magdalena Eriksson. The minute that was allotted for the extras has almost expired. The referee, Stephanie Frappart, brings the whistle to her lips, and that is half-time. So they remain eyeball to eyeball in this staring match of a last 16 tie. Sekira Musovic's saves have been so dominant. Nair has stood firm when she's needed to under the high ball too. But will there be a break in this deadlock over the next 15 minutes? Or is this tie of these two superpowers going to go to penalties?
I can't see it not going to penalties, I'm not going to lie, at this moment in time. But yeah, you can see how positive Sweden are, all high fives. They were much better in that 15 minutes than what they'd been previously in the second half, so I think it's very positive for them. Sekira Musovic, whenever USA are getting in, she stood up tall, made a good save, made big saves in important moments. But again, Sweden just haven't threatened enough in that 18-yard box. Unless they've been pumping balls into the 18-yard box, there's nothing really clear-cut for them, whereas the Americans are creating those sorts of chances. Again, 15 minutes that everyone's going to be watching, because why would you not? It's been fantastic so far. The football's been great. The energy's been great from the crowd. But you can see, look, the Americans are pumped. Kelly O'Hara there really riding everyone up. But yeah, lots of smiles from the Swedish as well. They know they're still in this game. Of course they are. It's 0-0. But yeah, who's going to get the chance and who's going to take the chance? Because we haven't seen anyone quite do the business yet.
It is the drama of the knockout stages of a major tournament into the second half of extra time now. Sweden 0, USA 0. Morgan has made way for Rapinoe, the big name quality for the USA that they are hoping will be able to see them through. No changes during that break, as the USA will get us started. They will play from left to right in the second period of extra time. So who wants it more? Who is going to get the favour of the bounce of the ball? Will luck be involved? Will it be a mistake? Strong challenge from Sophia Jakobsen on Dunn. And the first free kick of this second period of extra time is for the Americans.
And this is when as well the coach is thinking about, he has to start thinking about penalties and who he leaves on, who he substitutes, because those players could potentially, so as much as you want to maybe bring on an Alyssa Thompson who's young, could unpick the lock, but has she ever been in a knockout stage of a game and potentially have to take a penalty? No, she hasn't. So those are decisions the coach is having to think about now when it comes to these closing stages, about does he leave it and leave the experience on the pitch to kind of hope to do the business.
It's the seek of a perfect balance. Let's update 5 Live. We are into the second half of extra time in Melbourne. Sweden 0, USA 0, the 2 top-ranked teams left in the tournament. And it has been a deadlock, albeit with an inspired performance of the Swedish goalkeeper, Chelsea's Zekira Musovic, who has denied the USA time and time again. They've both made their changes. Megan Rapinoe has come on for the USA. Lynn Williams has come on the right wing. She's in possession of the moment, has been a revelation, making it a torrid time for Jonna Andersson. Here's a good delivery into the centre. Shot from Smith was untargeted. Musovic denies again. Carly Telford's alongside me. Carly, the Swedish goalkeeper, has been their player of the match.
The Swedish wall, you shall not pass. She's been fantastic. She just covers the, whether it was hitting the post or not, we don't know, but you can't be sure in those moments. You've got to do your job, which she does. She stands up tall, but I'm just thinking in those moments, I'm like, keep it low, make it come off her legs, maybe go through her legs or get a deflection, and you never know, it could deflect into someone else's path.
Into the 107th minute in the Melbourne rectangle, and Rapinoe's got to take this corner from the right-hand side. Low delivery, bounces away from Julie Ertz. Miscue by Eisted. Ertz gets another opportunity, but she wasn't expecting it, and it was a daisy cutter, easily saved by Musovic. So the USA, who came into this tournament as the clear favourites, the world number ones, the defending champions, but the group stage didn't go well for them, and they are fighting tooth and nail here now in the second half of extra time. It's Sweden 0, USA 0. Naomi Girma has possession for the Americans inside their own half. USA playing from left to right. Another ball in front of Lynn Williams. She'll sprint doggedly after it, but it beats her to the byline, and that is a goal kick to the Swedes. How's your nerves watching this now, Carly?
I'm glad I'm not Swedish or American, that's all I'm saying. But no, it must be nervous. But it's, it's really weird when you're in these moments, is unless you see a clock, you kind of lose all sense of time. It's just until maybe someone reminds you either to slow it down or it's 5 minutes left or whatever. You're just kind of playing the game, but you're just trying not to make a mistake. You're just trying to do all the right things, keep it simple, help your teammates out, make sure we get the press right, make sure we retain possession, and do everything the coach has asked of us, and fight for each other until the dying death.
Throw in for Sweden. Jonna Andersson to take her 3rd game at this tournament. Throws it over the halfway line. Hurtig tried to get the flick on header. Good stretch by Hannah Bennison, but unable to fully get the ball under her control. And now Rapinoe will bring it over the halfway line for the USA. Good sprinting back by Sophia Jakobsen to put her under pressure, but good game management, and now that was excellent from Rapinoe to deliver it to Williams on the right hand side. The cross is too heavy towards the back post. Her teammates were more central, and out it goes for a throw into the USA on the left. Rapinoe showing her quality there.
Yeah, it was great play, just slows it down and then switches the play. I think Lynn Williams just had to, instead of just taking it in a stride straight away and putting it in, her teammates hadn't got on. Pino just delivered the ball, so she wasn't going to be up there at the back post.
Smith takes a tumble in the penalty area. America appealing for a penalty. Back up to her feet. The referee, Stephanie Frappart, was close to it.
No, that can't be decided on that. It can't be. That would have been way too soft. No, but yeah, I think they've just got to take the time when they get up there now. No, never.
No. On her way down before any connection. She was twisting, turning in a tight angle, and Sophia Smith's feet give way underneath the VAR, of course, looking in the background. But you're right, Connie, it would be a shame for a little moment like that to decide this intriguing encounter.
But yeah, it's just be a little bit more patient. The USA, they've retained the ball really well, and I think when one wide player is delivering it to the other wide player, they've got to remember they've got to then get up to the other side of the box, which Rapinoe couldn't make it.
Andy Sullivan from near the halfway line plays it out to the left hand side. We're going to join our colleagues on 5 Live for the commentary through to the end. USA on the attack. Bit of clumsy defending inside the penalty area by Rubinson, but gets away with it. Falls to Smith on the edge of the box, and then a turning shot from Lynn Williams. Cannot beat the goalkeeper. No power in the end on it. The Americans are throwing the proverbial kitchen sink at this now in the late stages, into the last 5 minutes of this last 10 minutes of this second half of extra time, and it is chance after chance for the USA, but the efforts that have had some menace behind them have been saved by Musovic. Carly Telford's alongside me.
Yeah, it's relentless at the minute from the Americans, which is kind of how they have been for the past all of extra time and the second half of the game. So it's really nice to see them maintain that kind of energy and excitement that everyone wants to see. It's just quality in and around that 18-yard box. I think the girls have got a lot more time than what they think. Even when Lynn Williams turns there, she probably had half a yard more than what she thought and could have maybe took an extra touch and picked a corner out, but instead she swivels and tries to take a snapshot, and just it rolls into Musovic's hands.
A change for Sweden. Fresh legs introduced. Rebecca Blomqvist, who got 2 goals in the group stages, comes onto the field, takes the place of Arsenal's Stina Blekstadius, who didn't get a clear-cut opportunity in the 111 minutes that she was on the field. So here's the situation for listeners who've joined us on 5 Live. These are the 2 highest-ranked teams left to the tournament. USA, who would have expected to win their group, and have avoided a game like this in the last 16, but their poor performance, just 1 win and 2 draws, meant they were second in that group, behind the Dutch in Group E, and have had to face the Swedes in Melbourne. The US, who played all their group games in New Zealand. They've participated in every World Cup. They've never failed it to make it to at least the semi-finals, the USA. They've been the dominant team in recent decades in the women's match, but they are in jeopardy of departing the tournament at an unheard of last 16 stage as we move into the final 8 minutes now of extra time, and the prospect of penalties loom. 2 nations who've been involved in penalty shootouts in major tournaments in the past. They've each had 3 penalty shootouts at a World Cup. Sweden eliminated on all 3 occasions, and that might be playing in the back of their mind as Megan Rapinoe works hard in the midfield to win possession, draws the foul from Fridolino Rolfo, and that is going to be a free kick to the Americans midway inside their own half. Sweden in their traditional yellow, the USA all in white. And you can see what it means, the expression on the face of Emily Fox, who's giving it everything out there. It looks absolutely exhausted.
She looks a little bit in trouble. I think she was in a collision and she stayed down for a while. Oh, she's all right. But yeah, if you're an American player, you're thinking, the way Musovic is playing, or has played, do I really want to go to penalties? Because nothing has gone past her so far. As you're a forward, you've tried everything, so you're thinking, oh, it's kind of, she's already got a one-up on us. But yeah, I think they'll be doing everything in their power now to try and get this winner.
Here comes the USA down the right-hand side. Lindsay Horan gets to a crossing position, has a look, doesn't fancy playing it into the penalty area. Support behind Fox, who's gamely soldiering on, delivers a cross in. Illistead, who's so good in the air, rises comfortably and heads it away. And then Anderson picks up a knock as she clears the ball out, and she's down on her hands and her knees now and may need some treatment too. Sweden, who looked good in their group, particularly with their aerial threat. They scored more headed goals than any other team in the competition in the group stages, and they've threatened most from set pieces tonight. In-swinging corners and free kicks have been dealt with by the American goalkeeper, Alyssa Nair. Good atmosphere in Melbourne. 2 sets of supporters who've had to bite fingernails, who've had to be nervy, but now know that the drama of a penalty shootout could be soon upon us. Anderson's going to be okay to continue. She's been probably, arguably, the most worked of the Swedish defenders in the game, Carly.
Yeah, definitely, with Trinity Rodman in the first 80 minutes and then Lynn Williams coming on, probably 2 of the quickest players in that American side, and she's dealt with them very well. Yes, a lot of their threats come down there, but again, she's dealt with what she can. She's had help, whoever's been working down that side. I think it was Rolfo was helping her out, but yeah, she must be very tight. And if you are the Japan team or a fan right now, you are thinking this is great for us.
Japan are waiting. They will play the winner of this in the quarter-final on Friday. Rapinoe bursts into the Swedish half, tries to release a pass, and then in frustration kicks out at Hannah Bennison. Free kick to Sweden.
Just went the wrong way. You could see on her left-hand side, I think it was Sophia Smith had peeled away and she kind of went down the middle. But yeah, again, those moments when you start getting tired or you start getting stressed or whatever, that you don't seem to make the right decision. You could just say Rapinoe there just made the wrong decision.
There will be fatigue, there will be stress in abundance. These are very high stakes now. It has been a long build-up to this World Cup, but one of these teams is going home. A flicked-on header, a chance into the penalty area for Sweden, and Rebecca Blomqvist stretching in front of the goalkeeper. Alicia Nair is solid for the USA, and Sweden very nearly getting in behind the American central defenders. That's brave goalkeeping by Nair.
That's where you're very grateful for a nice, slick, wet pitch, because you just know it's going to come through into your arms. But yeah, she does very well, reads it very well, and comes and smothers it. The dry pitches are the worst for a goalkeeper, where it stops and you think it's going to come through and then you're in no man's land. But Alyssa Nair reads it really well and just gathers it nicely.
Sweden have scored at least 2 goals in each of their last 4 World Cup games. In a game that they haven't had too many clear-cut opportunities, that, albeit, you know, not quite a half chance, they're going to call it a 3/4 chance, but it's big in the context of this game. Lynn Williams for the USA finds a bit of space down the right, cuts back the cross to the edge of the penalty area. Rapinoe had to change his stance, runs out of the box to hold on to possession, tries to wriggle free of the attentions of Sofia Jakobsen, rolls it back to Andy Sullivan, whose right-footed delivery into the penalty area, headed out by Eriksson. Jonna Andersson ensures it doesn't go for a corner and clears it away down the left wing. Sweden are hanging on in there amid this late great American pressure. 2 players collide. Lena Hurtig of Arsenal and Emily Fox. Boos from the crowd. Free kick has been given.
Yeah, Emily Fox does really well there. She knows she's going nowhere and just gets across the player and forces a foul from Rolfo. So yeah, it's really smart play. But again, it's just like there's 3 American players in that opportunity just before. Like, can you pick one of them out instead of just slinging it into the box? There's 3 of them and it kind of goes behind all of them. They're just thinking, just missing that little bit of quality in that end moment, that end product.
You know, just to put in context how dominant the reigning champions have been, the USA are now 3 minutes away from making it 21 World Cup matches unbeaten over either 90 minutes or 120 minutes. They are almost unbeatable at this level. And, you know, even when we speak about them having a poor group, they still didn't lose a match in the group. That is the strength that Sweden are up against here. But it's on the verge of going to the lottery that is a penalty shootout. And from the goalkeeper's point of view, Carly, you know, we often say, well, the keepers must relish the spot kick because no one's going to blame the goalkeeper. What an opportunity to become the hero.
That is exactly how we think as well. I can't even deny. No, you are thinking in this moment, like, this is your moment as America now with Sophia Smith in the corner.
Sophia Smith just outside the penalty area on the right hand side. 2 defenders around her. Illicet's been dragged out of the centre. Low ball comes in, but it's cleared away in front of Lindsay Horan. The Americans continue to come wave after wave of attack, and Sweden are finding it difficult to hold the ball up in the midfield. They're clearing it away, but they're not holding on to it. That looked like a foul.
Interesting.
Julia Ertz has committed a foul on Fridolina Rolfo, and that's going to be a yellow card. The first yellow card for the Americans in the game is shown to Julia Ertz, and she in effect took one for the team there. She didn't fancy the sprint up against Blomqvist and stretched out her arm to make almost like an American football type block. Hand connecting with the face. Free kick to Sweden, yellow card to Ertz.
I think it's a little bit harsh, but also Julia, it's a clever player. She knows what she was doing. I don't think she probably meant to catch her around the face, but yeah, she was just kind of shoving her off her.
Right. Set piece headed goals have been a feature for Sweden in the tournament. Can they make this one count? It'll come from a deep position. Played in by Rubinson, landing around the penalty spot. Headed away by Andy Sullivan, and Emily Sonnett getting a touch too as it's shepherded off the field of play by Jonna Andersson, and that will be a throw into the Swedes. Briefly, 2 balls on the pitch. No, it's not going to be a throw into Sweden. It's been given the other way for the United States, who are about to make a change here. And I wonder, in the 120 minute, is this bringing on players who are good at taking penalties?
Like I was saying earlier, you've got the experience of Kelly O'Hara and Christy Mewis, 2 players that have been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and yeah, they're probably your specialist players when it comes to penalties. Or why else would you bring them on with 30 seconds to go?
Seen all sorts of shenanigans over the years, teams bringing on goalkeepers to suggest to the opposition that they are penalty experts. Kelly O'Hara and Christy Mewis will come on. Emily Fox, one of those who will make way. O'Hara, the number 5, cap number 160 for her, a player who turned 35 on Friday. They need cool heads now to see it through. Still a few minutes to play, and then the penalty shootout that looms.
I always wonder how players feel if you get put on for that one moment. That's all you're going to do. They'll be lucky if they even get a touch, either of them, of the ball. But the first thing they're going to do is put the ball on the spot and try and win a game for their country.
For Kirsty Muse, it's her first appearance at this World Cup. She didn't play at all in the group stage. I mean, intriguingly, her first touch of the ball could be a penalty in the shootout. First touch, not just of the game, but of the tournament. Just 1 minute to be added on in this game, which has been played in a hefty manner. We've seen a lot of games with lengthy stoppages. It's been 2 minutes at the end of the 45 and the 90, and now just 1 minute away from penalties in Melbourne at the Women's World Cup. The last 16, Sweden 0, USA 0. Who's your money on from here, Carly?
Oh, you know what it is? Like, based on how Zecira Musovic has been playing, I think she's going to come with a couple of big saves, and putting on two brand new players, as much as they're experienced and I back them in their quality, I just think that is going to be their first action to take a penalty. I think it's a huge risk, and here we go.
Here we go. The full-time whistle blows. 120 minutes has not been able to separate the Swedes and the Americans. Zecira Musovic creating miracles in goal for the Swedes, denying the Americans time and time again. And now it goes down to the drama, to the jeopardy, to the mystique of the penalty shootout. Come back to us for that. But for now, Sweden 0, USA 0. So here on Sports Extra, we will continue really looking back at what has been an intriguing 120 minutes. It wasn't full of fireworks. It wasn't the best football we've seen at this World Cup, but throughout it was nervy and it was tense, and you can tell there is so much on the line, Carly. What will these players, what will these goalkeepers in particular be thinking now?
Oh, the goalkeepers love it. We do love it. We've practiced it. Look, Zecira Musovic there getting all the information. Where did they go? Where have they been in the past couple of games? It had been discussed in meetings previously. Most teams would probably we used to practice penalties after every training session. So they'll have their five, they'll know who they want to, whoever's on the pitch now. If there's any changes or any feelings, any injuries, people will speak up, and then the order might get changed. But when it gets to this point, everybody knows who's taking what, when they're taking it, and it's just a case of executing. And you're executing one bit of technique, that's all you're doing, but it is the hardest technique under the most amount of pressure. And until you're stood in a stadium with this amount of people, with this amount of fans back home, in the game you've just played with 120 minutes in your legs, you cannot replicate this situation. So you might have scored every single time. I remember in the Olympics when Caroline Wade, sorry to bring it up, lost and missed the penalty for us. She was our best penalty taker. We practiced penalties every single training session, and she did not miss. The percentages she had were 99%. She stepped up in that game and missed the penalty, and everyone was saying, why did she take it? But in these games, actually, there's a towel there with which way people go. It's unbelievable the detail that goes into it, but it will be the difference of you progressing and not progressing.
Yes, Alicia Nair, the USA goalkeeper, has got a towel where she's got written onto it arrows, and presumably it's the Swedish players' names and the arrow of which direction she reckons it's most likely that they will go to. We're going to rejoin our colleagues on 5 Live. Yes, we've reached the penalty shootout in Melbourne. We've just seen an image of the American goalkeeper Alicia Nair, who's got a white towel with writing on it, arrows and names, and clearly she's done her homework on where she believes these Swedish players might go to with their penalties. It's the date with destiny for the two of the top 3 ranked countries in the world. Magdalena Eriksson has come across to the referee Stephanie Frappart to join the American captain Lindsay Horan. They will toss a coin to see at which end the penalties will be. It has come down to this. Both still with a chance of meeting Japan on Friday in the quarter-final, but both knowing that one of them is on the plane home in the next 24 hours, depending on how this penalty shootout goes. The toss was taken once and now taken again, presumably one to decide which end the kicks should be at, and the second time to decide who goes first. Zecira Musovic of Chelsea on her 13th cap at this, her first major tournament, being centre stage for the Swedes, has been phenomenal through the 120 minutes. Can she bring that form into the penalty shootout. And remember, Elisa Nair, the American goalkeeper who saved Steph Houghton's penalty in the semi-final win against England 4 years ago, she knows how to save a penalty
Thank
too.
you for that reminder, Connor.
Had to be done.
But it's like, who knows what? So I know, as the goalkeeper, you know I know where you're going. So do I stay with what I'm going to do and what I always do, or do I double bluff you? So it's now there's so many psychology to the penalty shootout. Even the refs got involved because there was a moment in time where you take the ball and try and own the ball and own the moment and give it to your team, but they've stopped all that. You're not allowed to bang the crossbar anymore, which is another little tactic we used to have. Is Sachira taking the first penalty? No. It's like, whoa,
that would have been drama. Sachira, the Swedish goalkeeper, comes walking down as she must do, but she came across and started doing a little juggle of the ball on the penalty spot, and you think, does she fancy going first? That would have been a statement, but yes, instructions from the referee to the two goalkeepers. It's like the referee in a boxing match telling them to keep the punches above the waist. This is where the nerves come in. Who has got ice running through their veins? And I always think for the first kick taker to come forward, what a long and lonely walk this is. USA will go first. Andy Sullivan to take the first kick in the penalty shootout. This is 5 Live and BBC Sounds from the Women's World Cup in Melbourne. Sweden-USA 0-0 after 120 minutes. Musovic checks her water bottle. That's where she's got her names written down and which way to dive. The referee Frappert is being very pedantic with her about her movements, and Musovic is saying, hang on, I'm allowed move, I'm allowed wave my arms. And this drama all playing out while a stone-faced Andy Sullivan waits for the instruction to take her kick. Her 4th appearance at this World Cup, her 49th cap in all. Had one chance early in the match that she skewed away off target, but she's been the player trusted with the responsibility to take this first kick. One final deep breath blown out through her cheeks. She runs forwards and tucks it into the bottom corner. That's an excellent penalty from Andy Sullivan to give the USA the early advantage in the spot kick. USA 1, Sweden 0. The first time the ball has ended up in the net tonight.
Yeah, it's a great penalty, and you know what it is? I think Musovic knows exactly what she's allowed to do, not allowed to do, but as usual, up to our old goalkeeping tricks, trying to delay things, trying to take out time, trying to make things awkward for the player that stood over the ball, put a little bit more pressure on them. But yeah, here we go.
Nothing the coaches can do now but just look on.
Rolfo for the penalty.
And Sweden hand the responsibility to Fridolino Rolfo of Barcelona. Short run up, and she puts it just inside the net. You couldn't take a penalty any better than that. It grazed the inside of the post. She made that look so easy. Talk about brushing off the pressure. It's USA 1, Sweden 1.
Yeah, that's another bit of quality, and a short, really short run up and just bend it into, you know what, it's the hardest thing as a goalkeeper, the ball's going away from you, so that left foot curler into the left side of your net, it's really hard to keep out, and she just executed it so well. Next up, Lindsay Horan.
Lindsay Horan, the only member of the USA team to play her club football outside of the United States. She's with Lyon in France. Again, a big deep breath, a short run up, a penalty that's tucked away. 3 successful kicks out of 3 in the shootout across both teams, and the USA with the 2-1 advantage, having taken a kick more. No mistake there. Lindsay Horan tucking it in the corner despite the keeper going the right way.
Yeah, lots of power, lots of whip. Not quite the side netting, but enough in the corner that Musovic couldn't get near it. But yeah, on to the next one. It's very exciting. 3 very good penalties.
Ellen Rubensson of Häcken in Sweden will come forward up against Elisa Nair, who's jogging along on her goal line. Not allowed off it, but allowed go lateral. Rubensson takes her time. Here she comes, right-footed. Keeper chose the right way, but it's beyond her and into the net for another successful penalty. Rubensson really putting it beyond. Again. And it's all square again. Stepping up for the United States is Christy Mewis, who I don't know if she did get a touch, having come on right at the end of extra time. This is quite possibly going to be her first contact of boot to ball, not just of the game, but of this tournament. Didn't feature at all in the group stage. Kirsty Mewis brought on for this moment, scores to the top corner.
And that's
the penalties in the top drawer.
And that's why you get put on, because even if Musovic had gone the right way, I don't think she'd have saved that. Very good penalty.
No one has blinked in this eyeball-to-eyeball staring match so far. Natalie Bjorn of Everton. The right back steps forward. She looks pale. She looks nervous. Why wouldn't she be with these extremely high stakes? Elisa Nair, the American goalkeeper, wearing green, arms outstretched, trying to make her presence felt as much as possible. Bjorn comes forward, right-footed penalty is over the top. She looks so nervous, and the pressure has told. She's put it over the top. It's the first missed spot kick, and the USA lead 4-3. If they get this next one, it's all over.
Yeah, I'm going with it. She didn't look too confident, but even her run-up, it just looked very tentative.
And the stage is set for Megan Rapinoe. 3-2 in the shootout, not quite the jeopardy I was suggesting. Rapinoe stern-faced, came on in extra time. Here she comes, but she's put it over the top as well! Megan Rapinoe, one of the most famous names in the women's game, went for the posted stab corner. She's got a broad beam on her face, a smile as she turns back. She cannot believe that crucial moment has not gone her way. Of all people, Megan Rapinoe missing the penalty and opens the door for Sweden again.
And is the story not the story we all thought it was going to be for Megan Rapinoe? Here comes Sweden with their next penalty.
The tension unbearable as up steps Blomqvist, and it's saved!
What a save!
Elisa Nair diving to her left.
Is there a VAR check as always for all of this? But look, unbelievable push. This is it. Who's taking this last penalty?
3 penalties in a row now that have not been scored. Blomqvist went for the bottom right-hand corner. Brilliantly anticipated by Nair. Did she stay on her line?
They'll be checking it.
It looks like it's going to stand.
Yeah, Sophia Smith.
Wow.
First tournament, taking a penalty.
3-2 USA. Sophia Smith with the chance to seal it. The Americans stand on the halfway line, arms wrapped around each other's waist. Smith, 2 goals in the group stages. Can she score here against Musovic? She's put it wide as well. It's almost identical to Megan Rapinoe's.
You can't write it.
She went for the top right corner and she missed.
I can't believe it. Oh no. Oh, wow. That's a big miss as well. I don't even know how she's managed to get the angle on that.
Smith and Rapinoe miss back-to-back. Sweden are hanging in there. They don't know how. We've had 4 missed kicks in a row, and that will only heap the pressure on Hannah Bennison of Everton,
who again looks nervous.
She's seen her club teammate Natalie Bjorn put one wide. Bennison, the 20-year-old, with the hopes of her country on her shoulders. 5 Live and Sports Extra for the BBC, and a tense shootout in the last 16 of the Women's World Cup. Bennison comes forward, right-footed straight down the middle and scores! Huge moment for Sweden, and it puts the pressure on the Americans now.
Yeah, now the pressure's back on the Americans. Honestly, if I was Sophia Smith, I'd have just gone down the middle. It's the safe bet. Every keeper's made a dive. I'm just thinking like it's the pressure penalty, just go down the middle. But again, are you thinking, oh, here we go, listen, Nair to take a penalty?
The goalkeeper to take. They've both scored 3. They've both missed 2. It is sudden death. And Elisa Nair, the Chicago Red Stars goalkeeper, having already saved one, now scores!
There she goes.
Straight
Boom.
down the middle. Nair scores for America, and Sweden must score now or this is over.
Cold as ice. Again, just strike. The keepers, you know what it is? You've got to be so brave to stand in the middle of that goal and not move. And not many keepers do it. So the one down the middle is always, everyone's gone left, right, someone just take a cheeky one down the middle. Listen, said, I'll do that. Don't you worry about me.
Sweden have played in 3 World Cup games that have gone to penalties. They have lost all 3 in the past. Magdalena Eriksson has the weight of her nation on her shoulders. The Arsenal player who's just joined Bayern Munich comes forward for this left-footed penalty and puts it to the top corner. That's one of the best penalties of the shootout. Sweden are hanging on in there. Sudden death in Melbourne, and it's all square once again.
I played with Magda for 6 years. I don't think I've ever seen her take a penalty like that in my life. Girls thriving under pressure.
Kelly O'Hara was brought on for the final kick of the game to take part in this shootout. Turned 35 on Friday. The Gotham FC defender steps up next for the USA, the holders, the world's #1 ranked team, the favourites to win this World Cup. From 12 yards up against Zecira Musovic.
It's a long wait.
Kelly O'Hara comes, right foot, it hits the post! She played it so soft.
No?
Sweden have to score theirs now.
That's it.
Kelly O'Hara, not quite a Panenka, but she went with a soft approach. She tried to just stroke it into that bottom right corner. Brought on for the penalty shootout. She hits the post. What drama in Melbourne.
Can't believe it.
This kick can win it for Sweden now. Lena Herkig of Arsenal, who scored against the USA the last time these sides met, a friendly 2 years ago. The stakes back then nowhere near as big as now. Look at Peter Gerhardsson, the Swedish coach. He's just exuding positivity. He believes this is their moment. Herkig, saved! Did it go over the goal line? Herkig's shot was saved by the keeper, but did it go in? Nair feels she's clawed it back.
It would have been on the goal line technology,
Technology. There's no vibration on the watch. The referee, Stephanie Frappart, wants confirmation from the VAR. Oh, this is incredible drama. Are Sweden through? They don't know yet. Herkig has been told to walk away. It is a goal. It is a penalty. It is all over. Sweden are through to the World Cup quarter-final in the most dramatic of circumstances. Elisa Nair thought she had saved that penalty, but it went over the line despite the double attempt of the goalkeeper to claw it away. And America incredibly are out, the champions, the dominant force in women's football for so long. Their dream comes to an end at an unheard of last 16 stage. What a catastrophe for them, but what a story for Sweden, who held their nerve through 120 minutes and who got the job done in the penalty shootout. The tears will flow long and hard for the Americans. That is an incredible story, Carly Telford.
And what everyone ran after Lena Hertig for scoring that penalty, but Zecira Musovic has kept that team in it that whole game, come up with another big save in the penalty shootout, and she's just been unbelievable. And you've got, yes, of course, can I say I feel for the Americans? Probably not. The amount of brutality we've had to be at the hands of them many a time. It's now time for them to kind of feel what that's like, and Sweden have been at the hands of the Americans for so many years when it comes to losing, but now it's their time. Finally they got over the line, and the USA should have had it done in normal time. They had enough chances and just didn't take them. But what an amazing World Cup we're having so far, by the way. The drama and everything, it's just been unbelievable.
This is a seismic result. The USA, who have participated at every Women's World Cup, they have never failed to make it to at least the semi-finals, but they are out. Beaten in Melbourne 5-4 on penalties, and talk about by a hair's breadth. We're seeing the VAR graphic.
Oh my goodness.
The ball was over the line by a millimetre. The goalkeeper Nair, so close to saving it. She took the sting out of the ball. It spun agonizingly above her, but came down just marginally over the line before she scooped it out again. There was an agonizing delay for Sweden before the outcome was confirmed. But Herkig's penalty, the Arsenal player, winning the shootout, the delight, the smiles on the faces of the Swedes. They will go on to play a very exciting Japanese team on Friday, but the USA are heading home, and it does must feel the end of an era for this team of Alex Morgan and Megan Rapinoe, the team that have beaten all comers for so long. Well, now they feel the sting of defeat, and some of their youngsters will come again, but for some this will be the end of what has been an incredible road. No doubt about it, this is one of the stories of the Women's World Cup so far. The USA are out, Sweden march proudly on to the quarterfinals. What a game in Melbourne.